Good evening and welcome back to SDN Tier 1, and tonight we head to one of the most technical and tricky circuits on the calendar, the Hungarian Grand Prix. Last time out we were in Baku, we saw something special. Eric finally returned to the top step after 2 long seasons without a win. He made that bold early call on the safety car to take the track position and then had to survive the intense pressure from Mels, who's in Austria right now, who was charging on fresher tyres in the closing laps. Lap after lap, Eric was driving calmly and he didn't overdrive, didn't panic, didn't make any sort of mistakes, and proved that when everything comes together, he is definitely a championship contender and put his wrongs in the past. Mel still extends his championship lead with what is in P2, but that win for Eric has tightened things right up to the top. Happy Meal says hi, Happy Meal. And now we arrive at the Hungarian Grand Prix, a completely different challenge to a low downforce setup back in Baku to a higher downforce setup. The Hungarian Grand Prix is often described as Monaco without the walls, as tight, twisty and incredible technical. There are a few long straights, meaning overtaking is difficult and qualifying becomes absolutely crucial. It's a lap that's all about rhythm, and one mistake can ruin the flow and ruin your corners, ruin your lap as well. The circuit is just over 4.3 kilometers long with 14 corners, and most of the medium speed demanding the front tyres, driving needs strong traction, precision on turning and serious concentration because there's barely any moment to breathe as well. It's one of the most hottest races of the season traditionally as well, which makes time management and consistency even more vital for the race. Historically, Hungary has produced surprise winners and strategic masterclasses because overtaking is difficult. Strategy calls, undercuts and perfect timing can dictate everything. If you qualify well here, you control your own race. If you don't, then you end up You end up in traffic. In the championship, Mel still leads the way, but Eric wins in Baku, has closed the gap. Sasha, Kevin, Fireblazer, Kick are all within striking distance, and within the season it starts to take shape. Everything is to play for on the table. So after high-speed chaos of Baku, we move to a circuit that demands more patience, precision and profession. Hungary doesn't reward aggression, it rewards discipline. And tonight that could make all the difference. My name is Jamie Morris, and alongside me tonight is my Dutch co-commentator. His name is Milan Lange. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing all right, mate. Thank you very much, and it's great to be back here at Hungary. It's track I visited myself last year, so loved being around here. Although, yeah, like you said, overtaking is very, very difficult. We've got a sprint weekend on our hands, so first we have short qualifying though, due to the sprint weekend, and we see all of these drivers out there on the mediums, because you only get one set of mediums and one set of softs. So ideally, you want to do that first lap on the medium tires. Woozy in the Haas is the first one out on track. He is already halfway down his lap, now going into that final sector, almost flat out there through turn 11, now down the braking zone of turn 12, and then just leaves 2 final hairpins to end off the lap, one to the left and one to the right, and we'll see what the first lap time on the board is around this cloudy Hungaroring as he accelerates outwards, uses the last bit of energy to cross the line with a 1:15.351, but we will see if anyone will beat that. Probably someone will beat that. Dicey in the Sauber though, it's not quite usual to see him far at the top, and his one lap is only going to be a 15.5, just over 0.2 of a second behind the Kick Sauber, but it is quite busy out on track. Everyone apart from Bart and Geitekaas, as Fireblaze goes, only second place, also with a 1:15.5, but of course these lap times they don't really matter, because at the end of the session everyone will go out on the softs, and these lap times will get a lot quicker as Reikaju goes P4 with a 1:20.9. Something tells me that he made a mistake on his lap or aborted somewhere throughout his lap, but there goes Lucas in the Williams, finally finding his form again after a couple of different difficult weeks. It has been over the past couple of weeks, struggling in qualifying, getting knocked out in Q1 at Austria, not making Q3 either in Baku, I think, as Happy Meal now goes quicker, but Lucas, good to see him somewhere near the top once again. Happy Meal with 1:15.1 goes 0.2 quicker though in the Red Bull, and he puts himself right at the top here in short qualifying. We've got 7.5 minutes to go, and a lot of drivers still needing to put their first lap times in. Then it goes P4 in the RB with a 15.3. It's already quite close at the top, but at the moment it is Happy Meal at the top spot.
JSR Green on the absolute verge of track limits there as he wrestles the car going down in towards turn 12. As you can see there, the driver's not really comfortable at this part of the qualifying session. Massive oversteer once again as Kick now goes towards the top of the pecking order with a 15.0. Here comes Green towards the final corner. He goes, and we'll see what lap time he can set at 16.1. So not really representative to his standards or liking or his comfortable. So unfortunately for him, he'll have to try and improve on those soft compound tyres when the drivers eventually switched to the end. And Eric, blistering pace once again from the young Dutchman, 14.860, and he has really shown his impressive form so far this season. He has really flipped a coin here as well in SDN. It's like he's got more patient, more calmer, more strategic, more meticulous, more calculated, and hopefully that momentum goes forward as well. Miles Makis is not here tonight. He is at the Austrian Grand Prix. Sorry, he's in Austria, and I think he's skiing there as well. So good luck to Mels, and hopefully you enjoy skiing, mate. I hear it's very fun in Austria, although I haven't been myself. I know Kick likes to go as well, but we'll see then how this qualifying session progresses forwards. Eric, the only driver inside that 14 as well, so he has already set the blistering pace towards the top of the pecking order. Mark is on a flying lap right now, coming towards this little chicane here, which can be very difficult indeed. Hop, skip and jump over the chicane before we boot it, coming down in towards this twisty technical part of the racetrack. Lean and rest on the curb on the outside, but don't get too greedy on the outside, because we've seen many people in the past get a bit too greedy on the curb as we head down in towards turn 12. I think past Maldonado and Paul Di made contact here in turn 12 before as well. Kimi Raikkonen sent in the same move down the inside of a Sauber. I think it was Felipe Nasr at the time. But look at that massive, he's in the wall! He's in the wall! And he has lost his wing there. I think he just got audacious on the throttle there and unfortunately put it in the wall. But luckily his tyres are still intact, which is the main important thing. Max Verstappen back in 2022 spun there as well after sustaining a grid penalty, I think, for a engine change. I can't remember what it was for. It was a long time ago. And he spun, and he still went on to win the Grand Prix despite Ferrari having the advantage at the early part of the Grand Prix. But they switched to hardcore power tyres and completely ruined their strategy. As Wards, welcome Wards, he's the newcomer here. I think he's Austrian or I think he's Lebanese actually. I got confused between Austria and Lebanese for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but I called him Austrian. Back in PSGL, but I do believe he's from Lebanon. But as we head down in towards turn 2, then get the noise pointed in there and be patient on the throttle. Now coming through turn 3, a flat out right-hander. We should have no problems there whatsoever, although Romain Grosjean, and I think TY full on screen, says Mark. TY full. I'm not quite sure what that means, Mark, but Wards coming through turn 5 now. Back at turn number 3, that's Romain Grosjean and Marcus Ericsson crashed there back in 2014. Marcus Ericsson caused a safety car. Guess what? One lap later, under a safety car, as Wards there has a bit of a wobble on, and he's a bit too impatient with the throttle there as well as he tries to finesse the car through the corners, but unfortunately he can't seem to handle the car really well. So the mini compound tyre is not providing the grip and aid he needs to try and get a successful lap on the board. But Romain Grosjean one lap later crashed there too in the same place under a safety car. Not the first time he's done that either, and I think he did it back in Baku in 2018 when he blamed Ericsson ironically as well. As here comes Wards at the final corner, the DRS wide open again. Here he is at 15.6. We definitely know Wards can go quicker than that. The PSGL F2 driver, I believe he is. He was in PSGL F3 last season, fighting for 2 seasons ago, fighting for championship, and he did with the championship post-race penalties applied as well. Happy Meal back out there on the medium compound tyres, so that's quite interesting. He believes he can get through the qualifying session on a set of medium compound tyres. Might bode well later on as well if he can save a set of softs just in case he needs that one extra run. But yeah, back in 2014 when Ericsson and Grosjean crashed on the safety car, ironically it happened again, but this time Ericsson didn't crash on the safety car and Ericsson got the blame, even though Romain Grosjean lost it due to losing the rear in the car and smashing the wall. I think it was due to the Ricciardo and Verstappen crash that caused the safety car the first time, but we'll see what Happy Meal does then. This is his old set of the medium compound tyres, so he feels confident to try and go for another flying lap. So let's see if it could be a mistake, you never know. Maybe he could dive back in the pit lane and put the set of soft compound tyres, and he might do as well, so I might have called that right actually. But now I think we see some people transition into the soft compound tyres, but it could be a bit too late, for some people like Wards, for example. Do you think he's done a P9 on a medium? He needs to ideally go on a soft to get him through safely.
Yeah, it's a bit tight on time as he slides his way into the pit lane. There's only 2.5 minutes to go, so he needs to get out immediately as soon as he gets pulled into the garage. Fortunately for him, his teammate is already out on track, so he doesn't have to wait for the other McLaren to get out of the garage. So we'll see if he's going to be able to make that, but I think it already takes around 30 to 40 seconds, that animation of going back into the garage and then going back out. So he might just be able to make it, but he is quite tight on time. As Stefan, the other McLaren, is making his way through the middle sector, going a little bit wide there to turn 9 and 10, but he's still up on improvement by, almost 14 seconds, but that's because his first lap time 1:35. I think he made a mistake on that, and that is also why he went out earlier, so he can go for 2 laps if he needs to. He can actually recharge and then go for another lap if he has the fuel after this one as he comes out of the final corner. Stefan, what is this lap time going to bring him? It's going to be 15.0. Great lap indeed. Of course, he's on the softs. You would expect to be quicker than the sets, the runs that have been set on the medium. So he goes onto the front row, but yeah, will he stay there with everyone out there? Gonna try and improve on the set of softs as Sheepy Gamer is making his way down into turn 2. It's quite busy out on tracks. Let's hope he doesn't get impeded by someone who are on their out laps, but I think he just managed to make it through without getting blocked as he makes his way now uphill through turn 4. Very easy to run out just a little bit too wide and pick up a track limit, but he hasn't done that, so he's done it quite nice. Now into the chicane, very awkward chicane with the curbs on the inside, can really throw off the balance, but he is playing it quite safely. He hasn't set that time so far, neither has Geintekaas, and Geintekaas is actually still in pit lane, so Geintekaas, I think he is still eating dinner, so he is not going to go out there, and he will start his race from P17. I say this race, I mean this sprint race. Of course, the big points are scored in the main event, and where he hopefully should be able to qualify for, but he is going to be about to back for the sprint race at least, as Sheepy Gamer comes through the final 2 corners. And what is his only lap time gonna be? It's gonna be inside the top 10 on this brand new set of softs. So he comes across the line. Who's he has left the session, so he was to be P6 at best. The teammate goes P8. It does Sheepy Gamer, but will it be enough? There's 30 seconds left to go, and there's still a few drivers out on their out laps. Let's hope they all make out in time. Wards is just making his way through the penultimate corner, as Lucas now goes quickest with a 14.6, only 2/10 quicker though than Erik, as Wards now comes to the final corner, and he is able to do another lap on a brand new set of softs.
Time for time, I'm not quite sure how much minutes or seconds are left in the qualifier session due to the 3 seconds left, so he's actually left that to the absolute last minute there. So lucky that his teammate was elsewhere on the circuit going around, but Erik is coming through turn 5 right now. 1/10 up is the Dutchman coming through this awkward chicane. We go taking a wide angle through there as well as we now rest up on the curb. Fireblaze goes up into P2 in the Mercedes with a 14.7 behind his old foe of Lucas in first place with a 14.6 as Erik flies through. Has a bit of a moment though, has a little bit of a correction, but nothing too major. 3/10 up in the middle sector. Leonard goes up into P4, so nice performance there from the German Dutchman. Coming towards now this penultimate corner, we go took a very wide angle through there as well as he now makes his way out of the corner, going towards the final corner. But Alex Albon crashed back in 2019, lost him in the car and careered it into the wall. Here comes Erik towards the line. He goes a 14.396. The Dutchman looking very good so far in this qualifying session. Oh, Stefan, Happy Meal goes quicker with a 14.364. Here comes Stefan out of the final corner, or towards the final corner, as he has a massive moment out of the final corner too for good measure. And unfortunately, that lap time is gone and ruined. As behind him, I can see somebody in the background spinning. They just hit the wall there, out of the final corner. It's like McLaren. What's he doing? What are you doing, Sheepy Gamer? Don't hit him. But the McLaren driver was it Stefan? No, it was Wards. Wards hit the corner, hit the ball on the inside there, unfortunately for him. So P13 at best there, and he's 1.3 seconds slower. So Ward's clearly not comfortable around here in Hungary, and unfortunately for him, he'll be down there P13. But qualifying then is done and dusted. I thought it was a knockout system. Never mind, I thought it was Q1. My bad. I get confused, with the sprint. So Happy Meal has taken pole position. What an absolute amazing pace from him, and beats Erik by a few hundredths of a second. I'm really sorry, by the way, that I pronounced it wrong. I thought it was a SQ1 because it said it at the top of the screen. I'm not really familiar when it comes to sprint weekend, so I profusely apologise about that one, and very, very sorry for underwhelming Happy Meal's announcement for the pole. So excuse me there for Happy Meal, but well done, Happy Meal. It's pole position for him with Erik and Peter. It's a Red Bull 1-2. Red Bull have been looking so good so far, has the team from Molten Keynes. And the two Dutchmen in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth as well. And what an absolute performance from them as well. So we'll see how it transpires into the race. Remember, Happy Meal is still looking for his first win of the season as well. He's been trying ever since last season too, but missed out by the merest margins or small mistakes as well. So there it is. That's qualifying and done and dusted. It is Happy Meal on pole position with Erik in P2, Lucas in the Williams. Finally, A compelling performance for him in P3. Sasha fourth ahead of Fireblaze. Leonard P6. Stefan in seventh ahead of Kick in the Williams, who did it on the medium compound tyre. Vitesse Fan up into P9 ahead of Rusi. Sheepy Gamer, Ticey Wards, Mark Green, Reiki Yu, and Hatagas 17. Seam says, hey, hello to you too, mate. I hope heads at goed met jou. And I hope you're doing good as well. But that is qualifying done and dusted. And once again, I do apologise for not calling it right there in the system.
So a front row lockout it is then for the Red Bull team for the sprint race. Beginning their evening very strongly indeed. Surprised to see Kick down there in P8, so he must have made a mistake on his second lap. But luckily for him, it's only the sprint race. And as long as he does well in the main qualifying, he should be fine. But 12 laps of racing, question is, will you be able to make it on the mediums? And already see that Fireblaze has gone for the hards, so we might see some drivers picking the hards over the mediums, simply because the tire wear is quite high around here, even though it's only a sprint race. But then again, it is a sacrifice for the main event later on, because you will only have one set of hards, so you kind of have to be forced to a one-stop if you pick the hards right now, but I see a lot of drivers doing that. So that is going to be interesting to see if we see some drivers actually going for the mediums to save that set of hards for the race later on. But it sure will be interesting on tires, because we know the tire wear is pretty high around the Hungary. The clear skies ahead now, so the clouds have gone away. So we make up for a very nice race indeed. But the start of race could be crucial around here, because overtaking, like you said, is so incredibly difficult. So you really want to get track position as early as possible. And then later on with the DRS, we might see some overtakes, but not if you're in the DRS train. That is going to be even harder to try and overtake. And here we go then for the sprint race here at Hungary.
There are the lights on the panels. And we're underway here for SDR as we make our way now down towards tier 1. Eric and Happy Meal going side by side as we make our way down in towards tier 1. Here comes Eric down the inside of his teammate. He gets tagged by the Ferrari as Happy Meal, and Eric spun. Eric has spun there. Both Red Bull drivers made contact and Eric has fallen down the order. What a dramatic start for both of them as we see Lucas up the inside. In towards tier 2 we go now. Lucas is up into P2, but what a shame. In the merest of contact forces the Red Bull to tumble down the order and drop into last place. What an absolute shame there for Eric as well, especially in a sprint race. That's what happens as well. You take a massive gamble, you pay the consequences, and unfortunately for him, he has paid the consequences as well. Both Red Bulls toughed it out in turn 1 and turn 2, and unfortunately for them, he has fallen down the order. Milan, Woolsey says he needs an invite if you don't mind providing him one if you can. Shippy Gamer versus JSR Green in this Placetta gets squeezed off the track there, and there's more contact to his Shippy Gamer trying to find a way to go around the outside in towards the most difficult corner in turn 11 there as the racing ball has here goes the Haas down the inside, but not to be on this occasion. And we see the Alpine there as Hatagas is fighting with Reiki, the Belgian driver, dropping down the order, but he's trying to sneak back through on the inside there, but loses traction. He's on the hard compound tyre, so not the best grip. Where is Eric? He's recovered into P15 then, so I know it's what it's like to be dropping down the order as Eric goes through Ricky U, and here comes Stefan too. So Stefan gets ahead of the Aston Martin, and here comes the McLaren driver side by side with the Red Bull driver headed down into towards turn 1, but Eric's a bit later on the brakes there. He's on the hard compound tyres. He has a massive slide out of turn 1, and now Stefan goes through. He's up into P14. So Eric has got 10 laps to recover and try and make up as many places as I can. And not to embarrass myself, Milan, but in this, so whoever finishes in what order in this race, when it goes to the race, or is there another qualifying?
There is going to be another qualifying after this race. It's going to be a short qualifying to determine the grid for the main event. But it was it was a clean opening stage of the race. Apart from the incident we saw with Eric, unfortunately at turn 1, not sure what happened. There was just minor contact between the two Red Bulls, but enough to send him spinning around down into P15 as Stefan has found a way past in the meantime as well. But he's on the mediums, of course, so he will have the tire advantage at the beginning of this race. Speaking of medium compound tires, Vitesse Fan in P4 has gained 5 positions since the opening up from P9 to P4. Mark as well on those mediums from P14 all the way to P9, but Warts on the hards with a great start as well, having gained 5 positions. Up ahead, that is Kick getting ahead of Leonard on the hards, now up to P6 and trying to chase after Fireblaze. Now Happy Meal has got a sizable gap at the front, 1.5 seconds, and he's actually on the hard, so he's doing a great job. And here is Lucas fighting it out with Sasha for second place. To Ferrari on the outside, he doesn't quite get the traction. He does have the DRS though, but not quite close enough to make that move. But that is great news actually for Happy Meal at the front, who keeps to extend that gap. Mark and Ward's now fighting out side by side. Ward's on the inside for turn 3. Mark stuck there on the outside, and he will not make it through in towards turn 4 ahead of the McLaren driver, who was able to pull clear of the Aston Martin as she became picked up at the restricted time penalty. Woozy in the meantime has rejoined, fights it out now with Rick Matthew for the last places there at the bottom of the field. But at the front, the gap is now 1.8 seconds between Happy Meal and Lucas, having to focus more behind him rather than in front of him. It's really losing him a lot of time towards the Red Bull driver, who could finally pick up his first win, though it's only a sprint race, so it wouldn't really count as an actual race win, but still it would be good for him to finish out on track first here at Hungary. But Lucas then has now got a 5-10 gap towards Sasha. In the background, the other Ferrari in P4 is on the mediums, so should have the advantage for now, but it's a matter of time before those mediums will start to drop off, and we'll see the hards be in favor. Compared to the mediums down towards turn 1. Sasha a bit too far back to make that move, as Kick has now closed up the gap towards Fireblaze and is right at the back of the Mercedes, so we should be seeing him potentially making a move soon on the Mercedes. But right now he is stuck in that DRS plane behind Lucas, who is still 1.7 seconds behind Happy Meal.
So Kevin Zumberg, for you just joining the stream, mate, look back to lap 1 because Eric was on pole, but there was contact in towards turn 1. Eric and Happy Meal made contact. Now, we don't know who's at fault there. It was tight between the two. It was just such the merest of contact as well. And unfortunately, Eric was in a spin. Both drivers stuffed it out, and Happy Meal came out on top as well. I think Happy Meal just gave Eric a little bit enough space on the outside, gave him a wide berth on the entry, but unfortunately Eric fell down the order. But still, I think Eric needs to compose to forget about the sprint race. Just try and do your best, because what I was going to mention as well, because this format is so different, I was going to say this format induces another qualifying session. It's not whoever finishes in what order in this race goes towards the race order. So, for example, if Eric finished in 15th, he won't start the race in 15th place because there's another qualified. So at least he has that benefit, because the format is different now than I thought it was. I had to confirm it with Milan just to make sure that was the case or not, because I didn't want to give out false information. But as we head down towards turn 1 there, the Ferrari driver is losing a lot of time towards his teammate, even though he's on the mini compound tyres. So already at this stage of the Grand Prix, the mini compound tyre is not providing him some sort of dividends in his race, and Fireblaze and Kick are all over the back of him, while Stefan and Khatakas are going side by side in towards turn 2. There you go, Stefan trying to go all the way around the outside, but Khatakas is not willing to give up just yet. Now Stefan has the inside line in towards turn 2, as Khatakas has fallen into P14. Eric is right behind. So here he is. Oh, is that a move there? I thought it was. I had a weird camera angle, but he tried to get past. Down the inside he goes in towards turn 5. Eric is getting his elbow out. I'm not quite sure if Eric is driving under emotions or not, but hopefully he isn't. As we head down towards the chicane we go, and Khatakas has to yield, and Eric is up to P14. But what I want to say about Eric as well, don't let that instant frustrate you. Yes, I know it's a loss of points. Yes, I know he's fighting for a championship as well, but it's all about composure, regaining your composure and form. Who's that going off the track there? It's like he's a ghosted car. It's JSR Green, who's off the track. He's got some sort of damage, I think, on his car. He was driving very weirdly. It looks like the floor was broken on his car. But he's rejoined in 15th place. He must have understeered wide or oversteered, as we see the RP driver get a bit of a swap on as well out of the corner. As we head on to lap 6, they were halfway in towards this race now, and it is still Happy Meal who is leading this race. Behind us, there's a big battle going up for 4th place. Fireblaze trying to go, they make contact, and Fireblaze to the floor off the track. Through goes Kick. He's up into P4, so 2 places gain in the expense of Fireblaze, and the Ferrari fights it out. As Fireblaze would not be happy there, he'll feel like he hasn't been given off the room, and he pays the favour back, like Magnussen and Hulkenberg back in 2017. The Ferrari drops down the order, so Fireblaze there giving the Ferrari what he thinks a taste of his own medicine. As he hits it. Oh my goodness me, Wards is in a spin. He has spun at turn 4, turn 3 or turn 4, sorry, as the Ferrari just drove in the back of him basically, and caused Wards to spin. And unfortunately, I think the Ferrari driver have to take a bit of penalty for that. I think he's driving frustratedly now, knowing that he's lost a few places after the fight with Fireblaze. But Wards, well, the first time he spun at turn 4, he spun there in PSG left 2, and he crashed on the first lap of the race. So bad memories once again, flashbacks are happening inside that crash helmet of the Lebanese driver Wards. But yeah, what a shame for him as well. Drops down to 11th place. Made some great progress after a difficult qualifier session. As we see, JSR Green once again struggling. So limited compound tires for him are not paying him any sort of favours in this race at all. So he's struggling quite a lot here. But actually, Lucas is starting to close down Happy Meal for first place. The gap is 1.2, so nipping a bit of time away from Happy Meal. Ward's Broski time to retire, as there's Kevin Zumberg. So yeah, JSR Green has retired, so he has, but he's out of the session now, and we'll have to wait for the sprint and qualifying. But yeah, it is still Happy Meal leads, but will Lucas close in Happy Meal Milan?
Sure what happens there, but it's Ward who's gone around in turn 2, so another moment for the McLaren driver. He's going from bad to worse here in the sprint race, so he will have to refocus for the main event. But Happy Meal and Lucas, the gap is shrinking between the two. 1.3 seconds right now. Scheitekhuis and Erik once again fighting it out. I'm not sure where they went, but as Erik had some grass in his tires, so they must have went wheel to wheel through that middle part of the lap, and Erik back down in P13. But look how close Lucas is getting now to the back of Happy Meal, and Happy Meal is really having to drain his battery to try and stay out of the clutches of the Williams driver. But Lucas is getting closer and closer, and now 1.1 second, not quite within DRS range of the Red Bull, but he could be getting within that DRS range in the next few laps. We only got 5 laps to go, but Lucas is really starting to close up that gap towards the Red Bull. Not quite going to be within DRS range, or is he? I think it's actually double DRS zone around here, so he doesn't have the DRS here on the exit, but he might have on the next lap, because now the gap is 9/10 of a second between the two. Sasha is there as well for the taking in P3. Then it's a gap of 1.5 seconds to Kick, who now has been released after being stuck behind Ferrari and Fireblaze. Let's see if he is going to be able to close up that gap towards the top 3, as Happy Meal is starting to build a little bit of a gap once again towards the Williams. And then it's Leonard in P6, 3.5 seconds behind due to that moment we saw. And then it's Ferrari running right there through turn 4. And under pressure from Mark and Ticey as well. Another 3-second time penalty there for Sheepy Gamer, just outside the top 10 behind Stefan, who finds himself inside the top 10. So a good comeback drive so far for the McLaren driver, but I don't think he will get up much higher, because he is on that medium compound tire, which will start to drop off, although there's quite a few drivers ahead of him on the mediums as well. So we'll just have to see how that is going to play out. And at the top 3, Sasha is now almost falling out of DRS range of Lucas, but I think he just stays within the rest. Does he? It's now 1.1 seconds going into the final corner. Not sure where that detection point is, and he doesn't have the DRS, but neither does Lucas. But the top 3 now very, very close separated, and look how close Kick has gotten to the Ferrari in the second half of the previous lap. He's all the way at the back now of the Ferrari of Sasha, and he's brought Fireblaze with him, just about within DRS range. But now Kick will be fighting it out with Sasha for that final spot on the podium, who is now definitely dropped out of DRS range of the Williams driver, and Lucas is now getting way within DRS range of Happy Meal for these final 3 laps. It's going to be a fight between Red Bull and the Williams for the sprint win, and it's going to be a fight for the final spot on the podium as well between Sasha, Kick and Fireblaze.
Indeed, as well. Milan, can you send Woodsy another invite, please? I tried to find it, but I couldn't. But yes, Happy Meal thought he got well clear, and now he's under all sorts of pressure of Lucas behind. So he's got 3 laps to try and defend from Lucas's wrath right behind him, and we'll see if Happy Meal is able to defend to try and get his first sprint win of the season and in his race as well. I think Lucas had a bit of a moment out of the corner there. He lost a bit of time, lost 0.2 of a second as well. So I think he just lost the car and caused a bit of balance. If Happy Meal can break out of DRS, then he's 1 lap free again. But Lucas is really starting to reel in the Dutchman at Happy Meal. As we see, Kick in the background is really starting to hold down Sasha. Sasha is struggling on them hardcore power tyres that, as you can see, the Ferrari driver not enjoying those hards at all. So even at this stage of the race, with only 12 laps, the hardcore power tyres as well start to degrade. And here comes Kick. Down the inside he goes. In towards turn 1. Oh, Sasha back down the inside. Towards turn 1 he goes. It's a lunge. Does he make the corner? He does. The side by side kick on the curb. Kick lost traction. And Kick has been dropped into P4. What a great switch back there for Sasha. It was a dummy move like Ricciardo did on Vettel. Switched to the inside line. Perez on Hamilton back in 2021. Ticey gets past Bark. as we head down in towards turn 2. He finds another run at the Ferrari. As he does do, goes up into 7th place. The man that qualified in P9 back at the Baku Grand Prix, and he finished in 14th place with a dismal race with both Kick Sabers there. But the Ferrari stays ahead for the time being, as he got himself in all sorts of drama in this race. Come on, Eric and Sheepy Gamer, as those two are having a moment there as well. I really hope Eric can just calm down, because he knows there's another qualifying session. He knows there's more chances. Don't do anything stupid right now, because he knows that he has the pace. And it looks like Sheepy Gamer is about to take him out as well. He just cuts the corner there to try and come back at Eric in these twisty corners too. So not something we like to see. The standards have got better in this race, but when people lose their heads, the young Dutchies get really angry and start to make things worse, basically. But towards the top, this time it's 4/10 of a second. We're on lap 11 out of 12. This is the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Lucas is hunting down his target as we head down in towards turn 1. We go side by side between the two drivers there. Happy Bill tries to hang it around the outside, loses traction, makes contact, and Lucas takes the lead of the race. Happy Bill tried everything he could in the background. His teammate is side by side with Sasha, trying to go all the way around the outside. Does he have the grip to do so? He doesn't. He runs out of road on the inside there too. Sasha remains in P3. Kicks pitch to the inside, has no space, as we see Ticey and the Ferrari go side by side too. They're in contact going down in towards turn 2. So many battles on this circuit. Behind us, the Aston Martin's fighting with the McLaren driver Esteban. 2 by 2 they go up towards turn 4 now. The Ferrari trying to go around the outside. There's contact, and the Sabers in a spin as Mark and Stefan continue their squabble over P8 and P9 as the Saber rejoins. So even in the sprint race, Obo's out to the max, and nothing left on the table whatsoever here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. I wasn't expecting this race to be so dramatic, but is it over yet? Can Happy Meal stay within the wheel tracks of Lucas, try and get it back for first place? The gap is 7/10 of a second, so you need about 3 or 4 tenths to try and overtake as well. He hasn't got the battery either, so he's lacking tools, and unfortunately for him, his win is slipping away from the grasp of his hands. The DRS is open, but there's nothing he could do to try and get Lucas and Sasha as well. What a monumental defence against. It was a robust overtaking defence against Kick there as well. But Kick is going to have another go down the inside into towards turn 1 we go. It's like a Charles Leclerc type move as well. But we now exit the corner with Kick behind, with DRS wide open. But I don't think Kick is able to make another move going down into towards turn 2. So he's lost that chance now, because he got caught out by Sasha, who stays in P3. What a great defence by Sasha as well. Dived back down the inside and took away the place. Pinch curb on the exit as well. And that's a really good, clever tactic as well, because you're giving them just enough space, but not forcing them off the track. If you can... Oh, there's contact in the midfield here as well with Wards. We're getting all out of shape here as well in the McLaren, with the Sauber behind the Ticey, who have both lost their wings in this race. But back towards the front of the field, the gap is 6/10 of a second. There's nothing that Happy Bill can do. He's hoping that Lucas makes a mistake, but it's unlikely, because Lucas, for some reason, has returned back to the top after spending a sabbatical away. He spent a long time away, getting knocked out in Q1 back in Baku, and also having a few dismal races. The last one he had was at the Dutch GP, I think it was, at the Netherlands, with Kick moved out of the way for him. But here he comes towards the final corner, and Lucas rises to the top once again. After a few difficult races, Lucas is about to win the Hungarian Grand Prix, and he finally comes back after a few bad races. Happy Meal finishes a P2 ahead of Sasha in P3, Kicks 4th ahead of Fireblades in 5th place. Leonard, who has had a quiet race in P6 there ahead of Stefan and the Ferrari as well. Mark in P9, Eric recovers in P10, as I think every single driver was running on emotions here as well, and driving in frustration after all the contacts. It was a sprint race, it was a quick dash, and it was certainly a sprint race as well. Now we move on to short qualifying and the main race, and I hope it's like eventful, but not too chaotic, because we want to see the standards of people racing as well. But Happy Meal is not really overly happy. Yeah, it's not a pun either. But Happy Meal, unfortunately for him, is not happy, because he felt like he could have won the race, but he just lost it. It was just the long-term pace he didn't have, and Lucas was able to get the better of him. So Happy Meal P2, but there's still a race to go, and there's still chances. I think you can change your setup car, Milan, in short qualifying.
I think you can, yeah. I'm not too sure, but I think that is possible after a sprint race. But we'll see what is about to happen. But quite an eventful sprint race, like you said, maybe a little bit too chaotic at some points, especially in the midfield, with some interesting maneuvers from some of these drivers. But fair play to Erik, I must say, to end up inside the top 10. He was actually running in P9 on his final lap and tried to go for a very optimistic send into into turn 12 on Vitesse Van and the Ferrari, but unfortunately didn't quite pay off as he almost spun around and lost that position to Mark. But it was really the Ferrari causing a lot of trouble today. So far already in the sprint race, we've still got a 36 lap race ahead of us. So let's hope that things will calm down a little bit for that race. But now we move on to qualifying. 18 minutes now to determine the grid order for the main event. As clear skies ahead. I don't think there's any rain forecasted at all for this qualifying or in the race later on. So it's going to be a nice dry race around here in Hungary at around Budapest. So we'll see who is going to take pole. Of course, we had that sprint qualifying with only one run in the end on the softs. So the question is, was that really the maximum pace that we could have seen from some of these drivers? I know Kick was down there in B8. He definitely could have gone quicker on the softs, but now they will have 3 runs on the softs, or maybe 2, because I think he used 1 or 2 sets of softs early on that you will not have available. So I think every driver has 2 sets of softs to use in this qualifying session. And first to go out is, I think, one of the RBs, and that must be Leonard or JSR Green exiting the pits right now. It is JSR Green, who had an abysmal sprint race. He's out on the intermediate, so this lap time will not be any representative to what we've seen so far. But let's hope he gets a bit of that feeding back into the RB after having several offs during the sprint race, as he was spinning around into the wall there at turn 2. I don't think rearing damage is turned on, so we shouldn't worry about that. Stefan also going out in the McLaren. He is on the set of softs, so we'll see what he is going to be able to do on his initial run. Good to see Warts out there as well. He's also on the intermediates. He, of course, also had quite a few moments during his race. So let's see if he is going to be able to improve on that. But we've got 80 minutes of qualifying, and we'll see who is going to come out on top and put themselves in the best position for the 36 lap race that is ahead of us.
Indeed, and once again, it looks like Rusi needs an invite. This is a short qualifying session, isn't it, Milan?
Yes, indeed, yeah.
Yeah. Some people are out on the intermediate compound tyres, which is quite strange indeed. But yeah, it's a short qualifying session, and I hope people realise that too. So 80 minutes around here, so 3 or 4 chances to try. It is a relatively short lap, only 1 minute and 15 seconds. That's about 75 seconds on a lap, so not really too long. So if you do make mistakes around here, which is quite common indeed, you always got that leverage to go for another flying lap. So as we round the final corner, on board with Stefan in the McLaren, who scored a few points this season, P9 and P10 in Baku and Austria. As we head down in towards turn 1, we go. There's a few cars parked to the right side as he takes a wide angle, misses the apex in towards turn 1, goes deep, and already messes his lap up as well. So let's see if he continues this lap or not. He still does continue as we head down towards turn 1. Sometimes it's always nice to get that preference lap, a banker lap on the board as well. Keep going and see what happens and see where you can improve as well. Turn 1's such a difficult corner because you arrive there at high speed, braking hard on the brakes, braking up the 100-meter board, and he invalidates 2. So unfortunately for him, his lap time is ruined as we go on board with the next driver, which is Happy Meal in P4. So let's see how he progresses through his lap. But judging what we saw in qualifying, it could be Happy Meal versus Eric, maybe the 2 Williams drivers, because they came alive in the end of the sprint race, especially Lucas as well. Their pace came out of nowhere, so I think they got comfortable. And Lucas as well, I really hope things turn around for the Dutchman too, because a very quick driver as well, had multiple wins as well in SDN. By the way, did the race start for the sprint race? I was in a bit of a mind block, because I thought I couldn't figure out if it was SDN or JSR. You heard me say SDR, and I completely butchered that up as well. So I really do apologise about the race start. My mind was all over the place. I wasn't ready, and hopefully I don't do that again, because it's similar, JSR and SDN. That's why I said it. My mind was all over the place. But here it goes, Happy Meal through this twisty part of the racetrack. JSR Green with a 21.5, but obviously on the intermediate compound tyres. We're just looking for the soft runners as Happy Meal there launches off the curb in turn 12. Now coming through the final couple of corners on this racetrack. Just be patient and square the car up at the exit of turn 12 as we now make our way towards the final corner, the right-hander, where we saw Sergio Perez crash here before in the past. Happy Meal approached the line at 14.8, but that's about 4 or 5 tenths slower in comparison to what we saw in qualifying. As we see Leonard go up into P2, the German driver in a second place there in the race. But had quite a few good results. I think he's debuted back at the Belgian Grand Prix last season or the season before. He is a midfield driver. Haven't really seen him yet on the podium, but he does put in some solid results there as well. Can be a handy, reliable driver as he spins weirdly out of turn 2. So what a bizarre spin! Does he get beached? Luckily he doesn't, so he keeps going. You are allowed to reset track if you do get beached as well, because you get penalised if you do it normally in other leagues. But here I think you can do it. Here comes Stefan in this middle sector, going again on those soft power tyres. So hopefully those soft power tyres are suffering with thermal degradation because they're very delicate and they're very malleable, very grippy, but also very easy to overheat as well as we make our way towards the final corner. There's a Ferrari in the way. He understeers a bit wide out of the final corner. The active aero is open as he makes his way towards the line. 40.8 in a second place. So not a bad lap time as well from Stefan. Looks like he found some form as well comparison towards the sprint qualifying. But we've got a few more cars now making their way one by one down towards turn 1. Weirdly enough, there's Aston Martin and a Ferrari following each other. I'm not quite sure who those two are. So about to see who those two are right now. Let's see who are the two drivers following each other. I think it's Sasha in P5. He's on the intermediate compound tyres. Where is the driver that passed him? I think Aston Martin got through, so I think Sasha just let him through. I thought they're both on a flying lap there. But the other Ferrari's coming through. Mark almost held him up too for good measure. So the Ferrari of Vitesse Fan is on the soft compound tyres, has backed off as well. So unfortunately for him, it's not going well. And Mark's gone off the track as well. So it looks like the Ferrari is becoming a bit of a villain and antagonist in this session as well. He hasn't had a good reputation so far in the sprint race, but hopefully he can sort himself out in the qualifying and the race as well. What I want to say about Eric as well, where is he right now? He's in the pit lane still, so not going out just yet. What I want to say about him as well, that it's very important to keep your nerves intact and not show too much emotion. Try and calm down. Rusi goes P3, so improvement for him in the Haas. But in a championship fight, especially this close, and especially in a league where anything can literally happen, and the race could change in a matter of seconds within a heartbeat as well, with the amount of safety cars and strategies, etc. He has got to keep composed. I know he'll be angry at the moment, and he'll be driving frustratedly as well, and driving on all sorts of emotions, and not keeping his calm. But he has got to keep his patience, and I know a lot of people don't have that in their skill set in the locker as well, especially me, because when I make a mistake, it gets to me, I keep it with me, and you start overdriving the car and making so many mistakes as well. So if you keep composed, get back on the A game immediately, get back on the train and keep going, and it's all good. But sometimes it does take a while for people to calm down as well. So they got to try and control their emotions as much as they can, especially in a heated championship fight. But like I said, he's got that luxury of a short qualifying and the race to make it up. So hopefully for him, it's a bad sprint race, but a good race for him, because that's what he needs as well, especially in his championship aspirations, as he's finally got a chance to try a championship. As Eric with his formidable pace so far, Kevin Zunderberg is not here too, so he's got a big chance to try and win this race.
Just had another big moment with Vitesse Fan in the Ferrari. Well, this one, it wasn't quite his fault. It was Reikaiju coming out of the final corner to finish his lap, realizing that right behind him was the Ferrari starting his flying lap, and they came together on the entry of turn 3 with the Ferrari slamming into the wall. So unfortunately his day just got even worse, and let's hope those emotions don't get to him for the remainder of this evening. In the meantime, Fireblaze now goes P4 with a 15.3. Of course, these lap times not quite what we've seen so far in sprint qualifying. We'll expect them to get a little bit quicker, as J-Shark really now starting his first flying lap. I'll say starting his lap. He's actually not used any battery so far yet, so I don't think he's actually going for a push lap right now. He's on P12, set his first lap on the intermediates. We've still got 9.5 minutes to go, so a lot of time to try and improve. But I think he's going for a second out lap for some reason here at Hungary, although he's using some battery right now. But I don't think this is actually a push lap for him at the moment. A couple drivers out on track now that we haven't seen so far in this session. Erik and Kik both on their out lap, and those are definitely two drivers that we will see at the front of the field, because Erik was almost on pole position in the sprint race, just missing out by a few hundredths to his teammate Happy Meal, who's at the moment once again on provisional pole position. But Erik now starts his flying lap, his first flying lap of the session. I say that he is not going to start his flying lap, as he does another out lap as well right behind him, going very close to the side was one of the RBs. I think that was Leonard. But interesting to see that quite a few drivers doing two out laps around this track. I'm not sure what the exact reason for that is, as Leonard was on the intermediate for some reason in the middle of the session, switching back to the intermediate tires. So some interesting strategies being played out there. Must be the rain indeed. But let's see if Kick is going to start a lap or if he's going to do the same thing as he is going to come out of the final corner. We'll see if he is going to deploy some battery. Yes, actually, so we're going to finally get a lap on our hands as the Williams of Kick qualified 8th for the sprint race, heading out towards turn 1, burning the battery all the way around to around 60%, as he missed the apex ever so slightly, but not by too much. Now on the exit, using some more battery downhill into the braking zone of turn 2. And let's see how he takes that then. Flat out on the exit through turn 3, and then uphill once again through a very interesting turn 4, which is a little blind as you head into it, as he almost goes a little bit too wide, but he's keeping it within those white lines. So a neat and tidy lap so far for the Williams driver, and it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to get quicker than Happy Meal, as Sasha now goes to the top with a 14.6, and that is more like it with the lap times. But Happy Meal, of course, still has probably got more time up his sleeve as well. So we'll have to wait and see until he comes out of track there. So two cars facing the wrong direction in turn 10, as Kick now going purple in the middle sector. Of course, we don't know if that's actually the case. Once again, just missing the apex there on the entry of turn 12. So probably still some time to find on this lap, but it's his first lap time of the session, and he will have time for a final run. Very tight to the inside coming out of the final corner. And will it be quicker than Sasha? The answer is no, as he misses out by a few hundredths of a second, but he goes into second place with a 14.6. What about Erik then, as he is finally on a push lap as well? Lucas now goes P3. Look at that, how close the top 3 is to each other, 14 thousandths of a second separating the top 3 in this session. Erik is on a very messy middle sector, running out wide there, so he's got a lot of time to find on this lap, but still pushing on as he improves by 11 seconds in the middle sector. Of course, he's 28.1. Not quick enough, but this lap time very messy for the Red Bull driver, and I reckon he's going to be a couple of tenths off of the Ferrari of Sasha as he will come towards that final corner. Will it be in the 14s? That would be quite impressive, seeing how he managed some of these corners around this track. It's going to be a 14.8, so not a bad lap time at all, despite the mistakes that he made. But he's now in P4, just ahead of his teammate, but still a lot of time to find for him. We've got 6 minutes to go in this session. Geitekaas, the only driver without a lap time, but he is about to complete this one as he heads a bit deep into the final corner. And now DRS open, run to the line. It's going to be a 15.8 only, putting him down in P14.
Yeah, so unfortunately Geitekaas not really having the best or qualifying session here, as he lets somebody go down in towards tail 1. So Sasha on a provisional pole position behind the driver D. Sasha has really improved in the last couple of races, not only in SDN but JSR as well. So he has really stepped up the mark as Sasha, and I think he scored a podium here as well. Back at Grand Prix, he was supposed to score a podium, but unfortunately he got a 10-second tablet. That was completely self-inflicted too. He did it by himself because he tried to. He thought he had the gap over the guy for, I think it was Miles Marquez at the time. I think I'm getting confused between SDN and JSR. I can't remember which one's which. That's the problem as well, because these names are so familiar and these races were together at the same time as well in the same week. That confuses me so much, so I need to go check what happened there as well. But I do remember Sasha getting a penalty as well, as his Ferrari teammate has set his best lap time on the medium compound tyres, and it's a 15.3, so quite a handy lap time indeed. So respect for him for doing a lap time, but it was actually, yeah, he did get P3 in Baku in SDN, but he got a 10-second penalty for some reason. But yeah, Sasha has done a good job so far this season as well. One podium so far this season, and he actually won the Australian Grand Prix as well. If you remember, after everybody ahead of him had made so many mistakes, Miles Marquez and Halfmill getting in contact. I think Miles Marquez spun at turn 11. Halfmill got a 3-second penalty as well, and he also spun as well. So Sasha was able to capitalise and take the victory. But it's such fine margins as the Ferrari man. Not the first time we've seen Ferrari versus Williams. Remember that big rivalry a couple of seasons ago between both Williams versus both Ferraris. Finn Hertz and also Mike and Fireblaze versus Kick and Lucas. What a big rivalry that was, and I miss it too. And it happened from season 1 onwards as well. Fireblaze being the double champion, Kick being the champion of SDN as well. And our latest champion, of course, is the man in the comment section, Kevin Zunderberg, who is also fighting for the championship this season as well. So unfortunately he's not here, but I'm not quite sure if he'll be breaking a sweat or panicking so far. Where is he in the championship? He's currently 4th place as he's 27 points behind Mel. So Kevin Sundberg has got a big deficit to make up as well. He won 10 races last season, not including sprint races. I think he won a couple of sprint races too. But yeah, what an absolute achievement Kevin Sundberg has done so far. And he's always a force to be reckoned with. That's why every single driver fears the name because Kevin Sundberg whenever he races. A dark horse in SDN and JSR as well. But Happy Meal has came out relatively early in comparison towards other drivers too. So just in case he makes a mistake on his first lap, he's always got that insurance to go through on his second lap as well. So let's see if Happy Meal can turn the pace up. 7 points I'll get from Baku, getting my pen removed, says Kevin Zunderberg. So that's what he said in the comment section. Glad you're still here, Kevin. I'm not quite sure where you are right now. How come you're not racing? Do you not like Hungary? But yeah, here goes Happy Meal then. It's going to start his final potential flying lap around here in Budapest as he rounds the final corner with the DRS wide open we go as we head onto the main straight to conclude his final lap. As we head down towards turn 1 we go. Hard on the brakes there. Important to cover off all the speed on the inside as he takes a wider angle going through turn 1 there. So doesn't really kiss the apex, but he backs off. He has backed off there, so not overly satisfied with his lap. Unfortunately there for Happy Meal. Kevin Sundberg, by the way, is banned, so that's why he's not racing here today. So unfortunately he's got a race ban, so hopefully he will return. Why did Kevin Sundberg get a race ban? I'm not quite sure. Was it? Oh, I know why. Why. It was done at turn number 4, wasn't it, with Robbie Jacobs? Those two came to blows, especially in qualifying, and they continued their dilemma in the race as well at turn 4. So yeah, that's why he's got a race ban. Kevin Sundberg and Robbie Jacobs there, not making good friends. The Belgium and the Dutch driver, of course. But Happy Meal has backed off there, so he's got one more chance. But he's under massive pressure so far. So it was a Red Bull 1-2 in the sprint qualifying session. But here, they're 4th and 5th. And we'll see, can they leapfrog themselves back up into first place? As Kevin Sundberg says, he deserved it. Well, yeah, I know. But yeah, it's a massive shame. I dare say it could have been handled betterly? Is that a word? Betterly? It could have been handled better.
Just better.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it is better. But what's intriguing me is Kirk has gave us literally to his teammate. He sacrificed his own lap, and he's only got 1 more minute left as well in this session. So he's gave us literally towards his teammate. Lucas is coming towards in the first sector. 2 tenths up in the first sector. Lucas is on an absolute flyer coming through turn 5 right now. As we see him now making all the way towards the top of the hill. Going through turn 6 at turn 7 there. Taking a lot of curve on the inside and using all the track on the outside too. As we make our way now towards this twisty middle sector, very easy to make a mistake through here. Keep it pinned as we make our way now towards this right-hander we go. Doesn't take you flat out as he lifts off slightly, but he's still 2 tenths up in the middle sector. He's on an absolute flyer right now. Is Lucas finally back on form after a few races in suspense as we make our way towards turn 13 now. Exits the corner really nicely, coming towards the final corner. The Ferrari might give him turbulent air in this final corner. Let's see what Lucas could do, as he didn't get the best of exits, did he? As he makes his way towards line. It's a 14.4 for Lucas. He takes provisional pole position, but Sasha's validated. Kick is on a flying lap right now. Eric's improving the first sector by 600 of a second there. Happy Meal. Look at him. He's 2 and a bit tenths up in this middle sector. So could the Red Bull driver take pole away from Lucas as he makes his way now towards the final corner? Here he goes. Can he take pole? DRS open. He makes his way towards the line. The answer is no. He has missed out by 7,000ths of a second there. Has Happy Meal by the merest of margins. He will be frustrated with that one, but Kick is 1 tenth up in the first sector. Look at Eric flying to the final corner, 3 tenths up. Let's see if the Dutchman can get himself back on pole. The answer is yes. Yes, he has. Eric has taken provisional pole position once again, but can he stay there? Because there's threats around us. There's a threat of Sasha. There's a threat of Kick. The Aston Martin's crashed at the exit of turn 4, unfortunately for him. Where Yuki Tsunoda crashed as well back in 2024, I think it was, as Kick is 1 tenth up in this middle sector. It's all getting tense now in qualifying, as all these hot laps are starting to come towards the end, as Tyson goes up into P11 behind Mark, so couldn't get himself inside the top 10. Fireblaze P7, as Sasha goes P6 as well. Let's see what Kick could do as he now makes his way towards the line. Can Kick get himself a pole? The answer is no! He hasn't. He has missed out. 4 drivers have set a 14.4. It is super, super tight at the top of the pecking order. And somebody else has middled the order too. I think it was Wards or Sasha, P5 and P6 for them. But Eric, like he did in the sprint race, sprint qualifying, he is back up pole position and looking for revenge, and looking for redemption, looking for payback, and looking for a statement to try and make it his second win in a row. Lucas shares the front row alongside him in P2. Happy Meal's P3 ahead of Kick. This is going to be an interesting race, you know. Williams versus Red Bull.
What an end to this qualifying session, and it's once again a Red Bull on pole position. 21 thousandths of a second is the gap between Eric and Lucas. But yeah, just look at that top four. Half a tenth in it between the top four in this qualifying session. Both Red Bulls and both Williams absolutely on fire in this qualifying session, and this should make up for a very interesting race as well. Sasha also with a great run, just over a tenth of a second away in 5th place, and still very much will be in the fight as well for this race. But I'll take you down a little bit of a history lesson, because 40 years ago we had the inaugural Hungarian Grand Prix in 1986, and then the Williams drivers lined up in 2nd place and 4th place as well. Ironically, just like we've seen here in qualifying, but the race was won by Williams.
Damn it.
And it was Nelson Piquet who started in 2nd place. Not sure why you're
I was about to say the same
damn it
thing.
For. You were about to say the same thing. Well, I was ahead of you, but yeah, it was Nelson Piquet who won then in '86, 40 years ago, the first race behind the curtain border as well of. Or the Iron Curtain is what it's called. But yeah, that's quite interesting that it's the exact same happening so far. But we'll see if the Williams driver wins it. It should be Lucas then, who lined up in 2nd. But we'll see how this is going to come out, because Eric and Happemiel, they are both very quick as well. Kick, he's in B4, but he was only a couple of hundredths away from pole position, so it's going to be between those four, and who knows, maybe Sasha can do something in B5 or someone else down the order. But it is going to be a very interesting race indeed with the tire wear, and we will see, will it be a Williams who comes out on top, will it be a Red Bull, or will it be someone else? You were still muted, by the way.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just thinking. But yes, like you said, is it going to be a new winner here at the Hungarian Grand Prix in terms of Happy Meal? Still searching for that elusive, important first win in his career in SDN. The drivers who have had their first wins in Hungary, such as Fernando Alonso, Jenson Button, and Esteban Ocon, have all taken their first wins around this track. It's a glorious track. I do like it. They say it's boring for racing, but it is. The location is very nice. It's very hot, and it's just a shame because I don't see a lot of action here. But when you do see action, it really kicks off as well. We had some interesting, amazing races around here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Jenson Button started from P14 of the grid and won in mixed/dry conditions as well. And I don't remember that day, but I remember watching it. But here we are then, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Once again, we get racing here in the feature race at the Hungarian Grand Prix. It seems like Eric's got a decent start. He maintains the lead, going down in towards turn 1 as he covers the inside. And here comes Lucas. Will he go down the inside? No, Eric's a bit late to the brakes there. He makes the corner stick. And here comes Happy Meal. Tries to go around the outside, but no, he doesn't get a good exit. Here comes Lucas now, side by side with the Red Bull driver as we dive in towards turn 2. They go. The leaders in battle, locking horns as Eric there tries to defend the lead after he lost it in the sprint race. But Eric there around the outside maintains. Oh, in the background, there's a McLaren off the track. It's Wards. What a terrible time that Lebanese driver is having around here in Hungary. What an absolute shame for him as well. The man just can't catch a break, unfortunately. He's got WOR apparently in about 30 minutes too, so he best pop off now before he has any more sort of drama in this race. But it's Eric who maintains the lead of the Grand Prix after making contact with Happy Meal in turn 1 on lap 1 in the sprint race. It is a bit gloomy out there, a bit cloudy, so could we see the influence of rain? But who's that off the track? It's Happy Meal. Happy Meal spun. He has rejoined, and I think he almost made contact with somebody as he rejoined on the circuit. So Happy Meal, unfortunately for him, has made a big mistake and has been demoted down into P9 there, defending from Mark. So what a shame for him as well. Eric has got 2 Williams to defend from. It is Lucas a kick in P2 and P3 to defend. So it's going to be a mighty tough challenge against 2 Williams drivers who are on an absolute prowl and searching for glory around here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. But lap 2, DRS enabled in this race, but not on this straight. Like you said, Milan, there is 1 DRS point one DRS over 2 detection points as the two Haas's go side by side. Musi, who's been mostly fighting, not on the track, but in terms of getting back in the session. That's what he's been doing the whole session. And I like his spirit and will as well not to give up. Because I certainly would have given up by now if my internet kept breaking me out of the session. But he's in P12 behind Sheepy Gamer in the Haas, a former F2 championship contender as well. And Mark is in P10. Happy Meal's reached on a P9. So what happened to Happy Meal? I don't think it was contact. Was he a bit too aggressive going down in towards turn 11 there? Who's that? That's Wards again, who has gone for a spin. So he's retired on the track. And off to WR you go, my friend. But yeah, what a shame for his debut here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. But so far, so good for Eric in P1, but it's a mighty long way to go in the race. And in the background, Ferrari off the track. Here comes Fireblaze, but too far back to make any sort of impression on the Ferrari. And Fireblaze would not be happy to see that Ferraris broke the DRS. And Happy Meal up the inside of Khatikas. Was that a good move? I'm not quite sure because I didn't quite see it. But he's up into P8. Did he force his way through? Was it clean? And now he's up into P8, but probably spun the curb on the inside. That curb is deadly. I agree, Kevin. I do agree with you on that one. I've touched the curb myself so many times and it's forced me into a spin. DRS enabled on this lap then as we head down in towards turn 1. Oh, contact! And Stefan's almost in a half spin as he saves it, gets back on the track, but he's losing all sorts of places. He's been shuffled down into P10 now. And was he going for a move? Or was it just a simple misjudgment there for Stefan? Did he expect Fireblaze to cut back through? I'm not quite sure, but Fireblaze maintains P6. Now, do you think rain could be on the horizon here, Milan?
I think someone said before the race that there was going to be no rain at all. Oh, and up ahead goes Mark, braking on the grass and spinning him around himself there in turn 6. So many drivers going around in this race so far. Mark becomes yet another victim. In the meantime, Leonard was in the pit lane because he got caught up into the incident with Wards, who spun around at the exit of that same corner and unfortunately got collected by the RB. But I don't think rain is predicted. But yeah, it is quite a bit overcast, so we'll have to wait and see if we might see some unexpected rain then. But it should be a dry race, but who knows. So we're now at the end of lap 3. And Eric and Lucas very close to each other, and then Kik and Sasha as well. As Sasha has got back within DRS range, then it's a gap of 2.7 seconds towards Vitesse in P5. Lucas then goes to the inside of Eric for the race lead, and it is not zero defense from the Red Bull, but Lucas goes way too deep into the braking zone, and Eric with the switchback is able to take that position back and retake the lead of this race behind Kik, around 8/10 of a second away. There's Happy Meal and Fireblaze and Geitenkaas and Stefan all fighting. That almost 3 wide there in towards turn 3. Look at this fight then. Happy Meal up to P5, Geitenkaas P6, then it's Fireblaze in 7, then Stefan. Something has happened to the Ferrari driver once again. He's dropped all the way down to P12. So once again getting involved in some sort of incident. Not the first time we've seen that tonight, as he's fallen outside the points. But now Happy Meal is back up into P5. He's got clean air to try and chase after the drivers up ahead, as Leonard is causing some trouble in the final sector. But 2.6 seconds is the gap between Sasha and Happy Meal. It's going to be difficult to close that gap because the 4 ahead of him are all in a DRS train, but he's almost immediately dispatching Geitenkaas from his DRS. The gap's around 1 second already, as Fireblaze will be looking to try and attack the Alpine, and he's under pressure from Stefan as well. We had that earlier moment down at turn 1. Sabuzi has left the session once again, whilst Leonard has retired from this race. Becomes our second retirement after getting involved in an incident with it was Wards. In the meantime, Vitesse now getting ahead of Uzi. I'll try and invite him once again for like the 5th time in this race, but obviously having some internet connection issues. In the meantime, Eric has maintained his lead at the front as Fireblaze finally gets ahead now of Geitenkaas. He puts himself in P6 and he can try and chase her. Happy Meal up ahead, but the top 4 have broken away with Eric, the 2 Williams, and Sasha in P4.
It was all down as well to the Ferrari driver because I believe him, Fireblaze, Geitenkaas and Stefan were side by side there as we see Geitenkaas trying to defend against Stefan, who is trying to force a lunge up the inside in towards turn 4. I remember seeing Lewis Hamilton trying to go around the outside of John Eric Byrne in 2014. It was a successful move as well, and I think Hamilton and Verstappen went side by side there as well back in 2019. I think Hamilton went straight off the track, had to give the place back towards Max Verstappen, and Verstappen in 2019 didn't win the race because he was on a one-stop strategy. The one-stop strategy is so difficult. It can be won, and I have seen strategies on a one-stop around here It's so difficult because you've got to be really, really manageable and sufficient in terms of tyre management as well in this race. And to one stop versus two stop, it could be the main king as well in this Grand Prix. If it was me, I'd definitely go to a two stop because there's no way I could save these tyres. Unfortunately, this track, I used to adore it. I used to love driving around here when I used to league race in my old glory days. But here comes Stefan now side by side with Khatikas in towards turn one. Simple textbook overtake up into P7. Stefan's doing a good job so far in this race. Now Khatikas as well made up abundant amount of places. He's up into P8 from 10th place on the grid. She became as well within that DRS train right there. But the top four left alone in this fight as well with Eric, Lucas, Kick and Sasha in P4, and we've seen that Eric is going for his second win of the season after coming off a high at the Baku Grand Prix. But it's a long way to go in this race. It's going to be under huge pressure. The concentration will be absolutely sky high. Bearing in mind, though, this track is notoriously difficult, and it is the common denominator in this race. It's so easy to pick up a 3-second time. So you can be very mindful and aware of track limit violations, especially at turn 11 as well. It's a high-speed corner, but stuck in dirty air, your tyres will be suffering with internal degradation and thermal degradation to a good measure, especially sliding in the middle sector too. So you can be very careful and manageable in terms of that as well. But coming towards the final corner, Lucas has tried once. Sasha in P4 has dropped away from the DRS there of the top three. So now it's the Williams versus the Red Bull driver as we head down towards turn one. Once again, Lucas up the inside in towards turn one. Eric gives a wide berth on the outside there. Who gets a better exit? Both of them equal level pegging as we go down towards turn two. Lucas with the advantage of DRS. Will he swoop around the outside to take the lead? The answer is yes. He takes the lead. Eric is now in a Williams sandwich there, in a Duracell battery sandwich there, so getting a lot of energy from both of them, harvesting it. But Lucas now takes the lead of the Grand Prix. If you remember, I'm not quite sure if it was last season or season before, but it was Fireblades versus the Williams versus Laser, and Laser was on course to win the race as well. Bearing in mind, he was in the championship fight was Fireblades against Kick and Lucas. So guess what? It was Fireblaze who won the Grand Prix because Laser moved aside to let Fireblaze win, if you remember, Milan. It was such an awkward interview at the end too.
Yeah, I do remember very well indeed. I think it was the first time we interviewed together here in SDN, but yeah, that was getting out of the way for a friend, Fireblaze, who was in that championship fight. He needed that win, and he got it unfortunately as Laser then went out of the way as the Ferrari of Tesafan with a 3-second time penalty. But we don't see anything like that tonight. I don't think we can expect something like that, because these four are all very much in a championship fight, as Fireblaze and Stefan now put into the pit lane. A lap after Geitegas made his pit stop. Thijs as well, now into the pit lane as well. So definitely these drivers are bound to a 2-stop. As we see Fireblaze putting on a brand new set of hards. So does the McLaren driver. We'll see if they come out ahead of Geitegas, because they were ahead of Geitegas. Fireblaze at least was. As the Alpine driver comes around the final corner, will he be ahead of the Mercedes? Will he be behind? There is Fireblaze coming out ahead, and there is Stefan, who might come out ahead of Geitegas as well, who's going to try and perform a switchback, but he doesn't have the DRS, so he's not going to be able to make that work, and Stefan will stay ahead then of the Alpine. So the undercut has not really worked for Geitegas, unfortunately for him. Fireblaze has now come out on P11. Unfortunately for him, he's behind the Ferrari driver. Let's hope he gets ahead of him as soon as possible. Those two came together in the sprint race as well, so let's hope nothing happens between those two in any of the coming laps. The Ferrari went for an early undercut as Mark now picks up the racing time, but he down in P15 also has made a pit stop on the previous lap together with Geitegas. But Lucas now almost got 1 second advantage at the front. He is going to stay out though, so is Erik, but Kick is going to pull into the pit lane. The first driver of the top 5 to make their scheduled pit stop. Sasha will stay out, so does Happemil, who is now caught up to the back of the Ferrari. He's well within the DRS range and might try to go for the move soon. On the Ferrari, maybe heading towards turn one. It's going to be a late making move. Up the inside goes Happemil, side by side with the Ferrari, who should have the better exit on the outside. But there is a DRS for Happemil, who will try to switch to the inside, and the Ferrari's not giving him a lot of room, but he's going to try and go for it anyway. And Happemil now up the inside of Sasha on the exit, has the outside line, has the better line, and Happemil now up into P3, which should be P4 once he makes his pit stop. Crucially for Kick, he has come out ahead of Fireblaze and Vitessefan, and he is in clean air, 3.5 seconds behind Rekaju, who started this race on the hard compound tire. So that was a crucial pit stop then from Kick. as there's yellow flags up ahead, and I think it was JSR Green who made a mistake once again in this race and losing a bit of time. Happy Meal now 3.3 seconds behind Erik. Sasha has really dropped off in this race already, as he was at the in the leading train for the first couple of laps. But unfortunately for him, he has dropped out, and now we'll see if Lucas and Erik are going to make that pit stop, and the question will be, will they come out ahead of Kick as they continue on? So they might go for a one stop, who knows. Happy Meal is also going to continue on, as once again yellow flags are out once again for JSR Green, who has made a mistake down in 7th place. He's come out just ahead there of Kick, who would want to get by as soon as possible. Now realizing that his rivals are staying out a little bit later. Are they going to try a one stop? It's going to be quite difficult, as Kick really getting held up there by the RB on the exit, but now we should be able to get ahead as we go down the start finish straight with the help of the ERS. He doesn't have much ERS to work with. But now on the inside, there comes the Ferrari of Vitesse Fan back up the inside, 3 wide in towards Sturman, but way too deep goes the Ferrari. And once again, Kick says thank you very much and takes the switch back to take 2 cars at once, like we saw in a sprint race. And that is a crucial move for him now up to P7. And once he dispatches the Aston Martin of Ricard, he will be in clean air, so he can try and close that gap down towards his teammate and Erik, who are still staying out in this race. So will they try a one stop? We still got 25 laps to go after this, so they will have to do quite a few more laps on this stint to be able to make that work. And usually it's not the strongest strategy, but it could be if they continue to run here in clean air, as Fireblaze now dispatches the RB of JSR Green as well to put himself back into P9. But Lucas is now going to come to the pit lane. Erik is going to stay out, so interesting to see that Lucas went 2 laps longer than his teammate. But the question now will be, where is he going to come out as he enters the pit lane? As Happy Meal and Sasha also still staying out, going on to lap 11. Kick should be able to get ahead of his teammate, despite getting held up in this fight with the Aston Martin, the Ferrari behind him. As we come on to the start-finish straight, Lucas now putting on a brand new set of hards. As he is still stationed there, he comes out of the pit lane. Although, is he going to be ahead of Kick as they go side by side? Kick is ahead, and he is also going to be behind Ricard and Vitesse Fan, and that is bad news for him as the two ahead of him come together. Now on the exit, he's going to get ahead of the Aston Martin driver immediately, but the Ferrari driver will be a bit more difficult. So the two Williams drivers have got a car in between of them, and Kick has made the undercut successful.
It's very important, very vital for their race not to get held up behind these cars, because they're essentially not in the same race with them, not in the same boat either. So Lucas and Kick have to make their way through quickly without making any sort of contact. Kick was in a very precarious situation a lap ago as well, getting caught up in the middle of scraps he didn't want to be in. And now Lucas is stuck behind Vitesse Fan for P6 as well. The man who's on the older hardcore powered tyres, obviously the undercut is very powerful too around this circuit. So Lucas needs to get past the Ferrari as quickly as he can so he can keep on the times of Kick. But let's see where Lucas might strike. When it go down towards turn 12, he's in the battery, he's going up the inside there. The Ferrari's been known he's been known to make contact and make drama in this race. But Lucas now side by side with him. He'll be very wary of the Ferrari too, very nervous of him. Goes around the outside, but they're both backing off. They're losing so much time. Lucas and the Ferrari want DRS. They're very smart as well, but not too smart on this occasion. As we see Happy Meal and Sasha go side by side, but Sasha pulls to the left-hand side and gives Happy Meal the place back. So I wonder if they make contact in towards turn 1. As we see Lucas still scrapping away with the Ferrari as well. This is losing so much time. He's been stuck behind somebody he's not in a race with, and now he's side by side going down towards turn 2. That's the risk you take by staying there too long on those old compound tyres, because you run the risk of being undercutted. And now he's losing so much time behind the Ferrari. He should have dispatched him 1 lap ago, but unfortunately for him, he's lost Kick now. Kick is well out of sight, and he's pulled off in the distance. And for his teammate, who is still stuck behind the Ferrari with the obstacle, this could be a race changer for him. Lucas at P7. This could be good for Erik by running the risk of a one-stop strategy. And the Ferrari there decided to take an adventure and going off the track, and he picks up a 3-second penalty as well in this race. Lucas must be so frustrated in that Williams there not to get past as well. He has absolutely possibly ruined Lucas' strategy as well, helping Kick, helping Erik as well. So it's quite obvious to me now, and clear obviously, that Erik is trying to propose a one-stop strategy. And will that work? Will his tyres drop off? Is his pace going to drop off dramatically towards the end? We'll see. But the one-stop strategy that guarantees you that you don't run into traffic as well, because if you do a two-stop, you run that risk. As we see Sasha and Happy go side by side again, going down into us turn 1. This is really good for Eric as well. He's got nice clean air in front of him, nobody to mess around with. Lucas goes up into P6, finally dispatches the Ferrari driver. That must have been a pain in the ass for him as well. And look at that, Sheepy Gamer lets him go. So Lucas would be absolutely glad not to get stuck behind him in the worst possible part of the track. But Sasha and Happy Meal scrapping away quite hard as well, as we see Sheepy Gamer under massive pressure from the Ferrari right behind, as Sheepy Gamer goes defensive on the inside to block the Ferrari off. But the Ferrari driver carrying a lot more speed tries to go down the inside there, but there's no space, although Sheepy Gamer might open the door for him, but he won't walk through it, as he stays in P7 for the time being. As we can see, Stefan is right behind too. Fireblaze as well has dropped off massively. He's down in P9, so Fireblaze has lost a lot of time as well in this race. He started in P8 as well, had a bad qualifying and hasn't been nowhere since. And he was highest in P5 at one point as well in the race, but unfortunately for him and the Ferrari driver made contact, and it forced him out of contention as well, and stuck within this DRS trade. Kick is catching rapidly against Happy Meal. He knows that possibly he is going to go for that two-stop strategy. Stefan is up the inside now of Sheepy Gamer, who peels off into the pit lane. He's had enough of those big compound tyres. Is he in the pit lane? No, he stayed out there, so I thought he dived in the pit lane. As Happy Meal and Sasha go side by side again into us turn 1, so these two continue the scrap. As we see now, the Red Bull driver inch forward and put himself up into P2. Kevin Zundberg says, "You Kick is winning." Yeah, Kick is winning, he says. Well, I'm quite intrigued, to see how the strategy pays off for him. I actually don't know, because there's different variables and situations of the one-stop versus a two-stop strategy. In the past, I have seen a one-stop strategy work, but that all depends if you've got consistent pace and great time management. Proven by Eric, his time management is so sufficient in this race as well. That's very important. That's a very important asset to have in this race as well. And Eric is doing such a monumental job. And Kick has caught up to Sasha and Happyman as well. He has to get past it very quickly. People think in the comment section Kick is going to win the Grand Prix. We're going to find out later in the race if that does happen or not. But we'll see. Kick tried to do a two-stop strategy back in SFR on Wednesday around here in Hungary. It didn't pay dividends for him, and it ruined his race. But here it could be a completely different story here, as Sasha is in the pit lane at the end of this lap, and a safety car has been deployed. A safety car is deployed, and I dare say for Kick, I don't think he's obviously got a chance to win this race still, but unfortunately for him, the pendulum has swung towards Eric now. Milan Langer.
Yeah, indeed, and unfortunately, this safety car has been caused by that same Ferrari who's caused so many problems already tonight. As he crashed out of turn 11, and then once accelerated into the wall, losing his front wing, and now retiring in the pit lane. Could have done that without causing that safety car, but yeah, that is the way it is. Great news for Erik, great news for Happy Meal. Great news for everyone who still needed to make their pit stop. Bad news for Kick, who is now in P3 and will have a 6-lap tire disadvantage if he doesn't make his pit stop. Still stuck behind the two Red Bull pair. And yeah, that is just beautifully done there for Erik, who was, well, I wouldn't say he's gifted a race win, but he's now going to be in a very handy position once he makes his pit stop. It all depends, though, on what the drivers behind him will do. Will they make a pit stop? Will the two Williams drivers come in for another pit stop, or will they prefer track position around the track where overtaking is so difficult? We're about to find out. Of course, Erik is going to make a pit stop, and so will his teammate, because they simply have to. It's around 14 laps, and you will easily make that to the end. 20 laps on a brand new set of hards, so it's a no-brainer for them. But for the Williams drivers, it might be a little bit of a different story. Do they have another set of hards due to the sprint race? That's also a question. As Happy Meal trying to maintain a gap towards his teammate in order not to fall behind, and Kick is going to follow him into the pit lane. So Kick is going to make a pit stop as well, and so is Lucas, so nothing is going to change at the top, except for the fact that the two Red Bulls will be leading the race. Although we have to question if Happy Meal will be able to get out of his pit box quick enough with this double stack. He might lose a position to Kick, as Lucas is a bit of Stefan into the pit lane as well. Sasha is the only one to stay out. Of course, he made a pit stop once that safety car came out. But yeah, as Kick does get ahead of Happy Meal though. So Erik now back into the lead of this race. Kick will come out in second. Happy Meal in P3, then it's Sasha in P4, and then Lucas will come out in P5 just ahead there of Stefan as Fireblaze. Also staying out, he made his pit stop on the previous lap, so this is the running order we will be at as Rick at US gone for a sort of soft, but now coming into pit lane to change that. But yeah, unfortunate the way the safety car has been brought out, but it's going to make up for a very interesting second half to this race, as everyone is going to be on a brand new set of hards. We're not going to have that strategic race that you'd love to see around a track like this, but it's going to be a straight fight between all these drivers on the same set of tires.
Yep, indeed then. So every single driver on the hardcore powered tyres now. So it is even Stevens there, but like you said, not really a strategic race. It's now a race towards the end on the same set of hardcore powered tyres. I do love a strategic race to see if a two-stop or one-stop does work, but of course you've got factors and differentiations of a safety car coming out. That's always something you consider in a race in terms of your plans as well. And you can't control, it's an uncontrollable factor in a race. You cannot control when a safety car comes out. Sometimes it pays dividends for you and the pendulum swings towards your way, and sometimes it completely wrecks your race. But on the other hand, though, it's like a roundabout. It swings all about in different directions as well. For example, if the first safety car doesn't benefit you, if the second one comes out, then it definitely comes back towards your favour. But as well, you don't really see two safety cars in the Grand Prix no more, although I say that. We have seen a lot in SDN and JSR, but in terms of more professional races, because safety car nowadays is quite difficult to come out because a lot of drivers are now able to like save the car, control it, the driver's not suffering with a lack of grip or whatever. But lap 17 out 35, we're almost halfway there in this Grand Prix, and Eric leads now, and they're back on a level playing field on the same strategy in the hardcore power tyres. So it's a fight all the way to the end, and Kick has got to do the hard work of overtaking Eric. So Red Bull, Williams, Ferrari, and Lucas has dropped down to P5. He had to double stack behind Sasha as well. I don't like it when there's a little bit of a bug in the pits as well, a little bit of a delay. It should be in and out in terms of double stacks as well, like in real life. Unfortunately, the code in the game cannot induce it, unfortunately. So that's the disadvantage you have if you're behind your teammate having to make another stop. No matter how big of a gap you pull, like 6-7 seconds, like Hangbar did, it just doesn't work out for you. So no matter how much you hang back, but you can't afford to hang back too much as well, because that would definitely cost you a lot of time and race fixing too. I think Lewis Hamilton back in 2017 had a 5-second penalty for blocking or holding up Daniel Ricciardo in the pit lane after a safety car came out. I can't remember what for. Maybe it's Lord Stroll and Carlos Sainz making contact in towards turn one when Stroll and Sainz came from the pit lane. Stroll was there and they made contact in towards turn one. I believe it was Sebastian Vettel who went on to win. Bottas, I think, took pole. Then Vettel went on to win the Grand Prix ahead of Bottas, and I think Hamilton somehow got up into P3. I can't remember where Raikkonen was. And 2018 as well, Vettel won the Grand Prix Bahrain. But the safety car is in at the end of this lap then. Racing will continue around here at the Hungary ring, and we'll see if the Red Bull driver of Eric can maintain the lead. He was under massive pressure in the first stint. Lucas had such great pace, but this also includes Lucas back in the fight, because that pit stop really put Lucas out of the way as well, and just really struggled because it looked like he had really great pace in the first stint. But he got stuck behind a whole bunch of cars in that traffic as well, in the DRS train, got stuck behind it for so long, and it cost him dearly. So he could be brought back in the equation. He should have some good pace. The safety car is in, and we get racing once again here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Kick is put in. Eric under massive pressure. Here comes Happy on as well as we head down in towards turn one. Sasha is defending, and here comes the McLaren of Stefan trying to go around the outside of the Williams and Lucas. Does he make his stick? I think the side by side, but no, I think Stefan has settled back into P6 there as well as the drivers continue up in towards turn two. And look at that, Lucas and Stefan going side by side again. Now through turn three, Stefan is up into P5. Unexpectedly, another player has entered the game, and Stefan's up into P5 as well. So came out of nowhere, and now he's got a leapfrog ahead of Lucas. Lucas must be so frustrated that Stefan's now up into P5, because I don't think Stefan has the pace in the long run, but Lucas probably got caught napping there, and now Stefan is up to P5. The highest he's been, I think, since the Belgian Grand Prix. We haven't really seen Stefan up here for such a long time after a few difficult races back in Austria and elsewhere too, scoring P9 and P10. But let's see what he can do. Can he hold on to this DRS train? Will Lucas try and force him over the inside again? Lucas must be so frustrated, because like in the sprint and in the race too, the great pace he had, but unfortunately got caught up in a difficult situation behind drivers on older tyres and caught up in a massive scrap he didn't want to be involved in either. So he must be so frustrated, because there have been so many opportunities in this race that, unfortunately for him, he's not been able to grasp, and it's all gone down. It's all gone bad for him, really. But there's still about 16 laps left to go in this race then, so anything could happen. But now DRS has been enabled, and what makes it even worse for Luke as well in P6, that he's stuck in a DRS train, and like we've seen before in Hungary, it's so difficult to overtake around here in Hungary too. So he's going to be in that predicament, and that's something have to sort out himself and see if he try and get past these guys as well to try and get himself back for contention of the win. But unfortunately for Lucas, not the comeback we expected. Both Aston Martin go side by. Definitely not going to win this race anymore. Lucas has got a 3-second at penalty. So after the high of the sprint race, winning the sprint race, the chances of winning the feature race has become even slimmer now with a 3-second penalty in this race.
Very unfortunate indeed. Definitely doesn't look like he is going to be anywhere near the podium tonight once again. And in the meantime, Erik has built a gap of 1.0 seconds towards Kick. Will it be enough though for him to break away from the DRS towards the Williams? Kick is trying everything he can to stay within DRS range to still have any chance of winning this race. Also, Happemil is dropping behind, so Erik really putting in the laps here around Hungary. And it seems like Kick has just done enough to stay within DRS range, but Happemil is not. He has dropped out right now, and now Sasha will be putting the the Red Bull driver under pressure like they did before the safety car came out. It was flopping back and forth for the entirety of that first stint, but Kick now, good for him, he is staying within DRS range. Now gap is 1.3 seconds towards Happemil. So is this going to turn into a two-way fight for the race win between Erik and Kick for these final 16 laps? Anything can happen still, of course, but I reckon those two will drive away from the rest of the field because Happemil is very low on battery, and he's not within DRS range either, so he doesn't have that connection to the top two, and he might have to look more backwards rather than forwards, as Sasha will be putting on the pressure on him. Stefan as well in the McLaren with a great restart to get ahead of Lucas, now in P6, but with a 3-second time penalty, and everyone behind him still within DRS range. He might drop down even further if there's no gaps to form. In the meantime, Happemil is still trying to get back within DRS range. He might get help from his teammate Erik, who is holding up Kick to get his teammate back within DRS range. Could be the case because Erik is really saving up that battery, but I don't think Happemil will be quite enough. It's 1.1001. He might have lost out by 1,000th of a second. I think he has. Very unfortunate there for Happemil. Just outside DRS range, and now Kick is going to put the pressure on Erik. He's going to go to the inside and towards turn 1, and Erik will not defend against the Williams, and Kick is going to retake the lead of the race. Erik tries to go for a switchback, but doesn't make much of it, and Kick now in the lead with 15 laps to go. And Happemil, with these two fighting, might be able to get back within DRS range, and his teammate could help with that. So Happemil given a second chance in this race and bringing the entire team with him all the way towards Ticey in P9. Then Sheepy Gamer, who has dropped out of the DRS range, 1.3 seconds behind, and Mark, who is having a terrible race as well in the Aston Martin with a couple of penalties already, and back down there in P11 with front wing damage for good measure. Not sure what happened to him then at the restart, but the Aston Martin not having a great time at all. But then now we've got the entire top 9 back within DRS range, with Kick ahead of Erik, and Happemil back within 0.8 of a second, and with a bit of battery as well, so he can once again fight for this race win, as the top 2 had brought their gap down a little bit to the rest of the field.
Such an intriguing, intense race here we got going on between Kick, Erik, Happemil and Sasha. Stefan's doing a mega job as well, not to discredit him or Kautamar. He's still in P5, holding on to the back of the train, so the best race he's ran so far this season and last season too. But we're on lap 22 out of 35, so like you said, Erik is coming back at Kick as we head down in towards Tier 1, but Kick is much later on them brakes, but Erik is drawing alongside the Williams driver, gets a bit of a swapper on at the exit of Tier 1, and now Kick is back ahead of Erik as well. So Erik seems to struggle with traction out of Turn 1. Lucas, he's dropping down the order. Did he make a mistake out of Turn 1? Did he lose traction? And unfortunately for him, it just goes from bad to worse now. And I think he's lost all his rhythm and momentum as well going forwards. It just seems like nothing's working in this race. It was a possible Williams 1-2, but unfortunately for the man running 77 on his car, it's not going well at all. Is Lucas? He can't. Sasha's got a 3. Mark's retired, and another. Well, it's a VSC. A VSC has been deployed then, so not a full-blown safety car that has been triggered. And Mark is out of the Grand Prix then, so what a shame for him as well. Struggling all race long and has retired in this race. Starts down in P12 And unfortunately, he becomes our 5th retirement in this race. Wards, Leonard, Green, the Ferrari and Morg all out of this race. And I do apologise as well for not saying the Ferrari driver's name because I can't properly pronounce it. I'm sure it's easy. I heard Milan say it plenty of times, but unfortunately for me, I just see struggle with it. But VSC then a short neutralisation in this race, and green flag procedure should be waving once again when the VSC finally vanishes from this race and we can proceed. Some people do like to take advantage of a VSC because sometimes you can manipulate it with the Delta. Look at this. Eric trying to go down the inside towards turn 1. The VSC has just ended there, and he was probably on the absolute bubble of getting a penalty as well, because I've seen plenty of times where people try and abuse the VSC Delta, and unfortunately they get a drive penalty for spinning the VSC. Lucas defending from Khatikas, but he goes deep and lock up in the breaker zone. Here goes Khatikas now, he goes up into P7, but no Lucas there on the inside, but Khatikas swoops around the outside and takes away P7. Decent drive from Go Cheese and P7, and let's see if he can try and catch Fireblaze. Fireblaze up into P6 as well. That's where he's been majority in this race. He's been super quiet and under the radar. He had his moments with the Ferrari, didn't he, at the exit of turn 1 all those laps ago, but running a solid race so far, inheriting those points and trying to climb up as many places as he can in P6 to France, still on the back of the Ferrari of Sasha, but once again Happy Meal slipping outside the DRS range there of Eric, and Eric as well, same thing with him, he slipped outside the DRS range of Kick, so Kick is starting to pull away from Eric. Look at that, the gap is 1 second then, so Eric has lost the DRS on this lap. It says communicating with online services, so hopefully nothing happens here. But Kick is 1.1 seconds ahead of Eric. Could this be the chance where Kick breaks free and goes on to win this race? We thought Eric had it in his hands with that benefit of the safety car, but unfortunately Eric wasn't able to keep up with Kick for the time being then, so he needs to push as hard as he can to get himself back within that DRS range. Eric looked like he had it in control so far, but unfortunately for him, he started to lose ground, and his teammates getting closer too for company, so he's under pressure from his teammate, as we see Lucas and Khatikas go side by side again in towards turn 2. Bit of a wobble on there. Lucas goes down the inside, but Khatikas will try and tough it out around the outside, not able to do so, and Eric is in DRS range but on the absolute periphery of being outside of it as well, so he needs to push even harder in that sector to guarantee his DRS in towards turn 1, but it looks like he's struggling so far because he's losing time once again. So all these drivers pushing mighty hard as Khatikas gets a 3-second penalty for cutting corners.
Yeah, Erik is pushing really hard, and he's picked up 2 warnings in the last 2 laps trying to chase after Kick. He cannot afford to get any more warnings because he will get a 3-second time penalty then, and still he's not within DRS range of the Williams driver, having to drain the entire battery to get close, but not close enough. The gap's 1.1 seconds as we go towards the final corner, and Kick has held off whilst they're both on similar ERS levels, and now the gap will start to grow towards Erik or with it as we go into lap 25, and Kick is starting to break free from the Red Bull. Happy Meal is following his teammate as he wiggles across the finish line, trying to work together with his teammate potentially over the next few laps. Sasha in P4, still under pressure from Stefan in P5. Fireblaze now 3.5 seconds behind. He's definitely out of this fight for the race win, but he's also got a 1.9 second gap towards Lucas, who got that 3-second time penalty, so P6 should definitely be safe for the Mercedes driver, which would still be a very decent result for him. But Erik now 1.1 seconds, the gap is staying around the same towards Kick, who is not gaining much on the Red Bull, but Erik is not gaining on the Williams driver either, and in fact now he's losing a little bit more time in the middle sector, as we saw it switch to 1.3 seconds for a moment. So Kick is now starting to break free from the Red Bull driver right behind him and could be starting to pull this win towards him, but we still got 10 laps to go in this race, and just the slightest of mistakes could ruin it for him, and he could get Erik back within DRS range with that. So Erik just gonna have to keep pushing on and stay as close as he can towards the back of the Williams. But at the moment Kick is doing just enough to stay outside, and the gap grows now to 1.4 seconds as we go into the start-finish straight. Happy Meal still back behind his teammate, but not quite close enough to do anything for Erik to get ahead of his teammate as we head towards the braking zone of turn 1. Sasha still within DRS range as well, so is Stefan. So quite the train forming behind Erik, but Erik is just unable to get back within DRS range towards Kick, and he's using everything of his battery, but it's nothing for him. It doesn't work, and he stays there in second place in the gap continues to grow towards the Williams, who could be pulling this victory towards him around the Hungary ring. But with 9 laps to go after this, he is going to have to keep it very clean towards the end and not push too much on his tires, or else the mistakes will come, and then Erik could get back within close vicinity to try and attack the Williams one last time at the very end of the race. But at the moment, Kik is doing a good job and keeps extending that lead.
That's very important for Kik, just to keep chipping away at those lap times and keeping Erik out of his DRS range as well. So Erik is now looking backwards rather than progressing forwards, and now is seeing his teammate right behind him. The last time these two had a battle was lap 1, turn 1. In the sprint race, so hopefully nothing dramatic or major happens, because this is still a whole bunch of points to take away. This championship is still long, 16 races this season, so every single point does matter. Every single point in the constructors does matter too, which I'll read them out. So this is a battle for second place now. Here comes Happy Meal down the inside in towards turn 1 we go. Let's see how close it is. Let's see how tight it is. Erik there still has the exit on it. Oh, the contact! And Happy Meal's in the wall! Oh my goodness me, it ends in drama for the second time in a row. They made contact. Can you believe it? Erik looked like he veered a bit right there towards Happy Meal, and Happy Meal this time, he's the one that suffers from the incident. And I think Erik there just trying to give Happy Meal a bit of a taste of his own medicine from what happened on that one there. But I was on board sideways, I think, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. But oh, what a massive shame. Something you just don't want to see. And guess what? Stefan could be the one to get on the podium. Last time he had a chance to do that was back at the Belgian Grand Prix, but he spun out of it because Eastbrand was chasing him down. Then Stefan spun out of Stavolo, and it ended bad for him. So Stefan, on his return, could be seeing the podium. All he needs to do is keep it within the white lines, as we can see Happy Meal defending there from the Mercedes or Fireblaze. Fireblaze and Happy Meal, last time these two were together, was back at the Japanese Grand Prix. Fireblaze got through very nicely through turn 1 and turn 2. Took the lead of the Grand Prix, and Happy Meal is in the pit lane. He'll be very, very mad indeed, will Happy Meal, and a lot of words in Dutch be exchanged between those two. But I'm not quite sure what to think of that. What do you think about it, Milan?
Yeah, I think it was just Erik getting loose on the exit, loose in the back end, and it was just unfortunate time, unfortunate place for Happy Meal to be there on the inside. I don't think he could have done much to avoid that, as was Erik just snapping on the exit with oversteer into the side of his teammate, who just got sent straight into the wall. And it's a very unfortunate moment for Happy Meal now. Unfortunately for him, retires from this race as well, so no points will be scored for the Red Bull driver, who's sitting in 7th place in the championship, and those championship dreams will start to slip away from him, and Erik might get a penalty coming his way after the race. Who knows if the two Red Bull drivers will report each other, because they both had that moment in the sprint race as well. Was the other way around with Erik and Happy Meal, but that was a little bit less contact between them on that occasion. But yeah, we'll see about that. But because of that moment, the gap at the front has grown significantly. The gap's 3 seconds between Kik and Erik, and Kik for sure will be dragging this win towards him, as I don't think Erik will get close enough to make any move. Sasha, in the meantime, as well, is still within DRS range of the Red Bull, and Stefan just needs to stay where he is right now, because if he does, a podium will come his way. Sasha sends one up the inside of Erik in towards turn 1, once again side by side on the exit. This time, no step of oversteer for the Red Bull driver. Sasha now on the outside for the braking zone of turn 2. As they still go wheel to wheel on the exit. Normally, the outside line is the better line through turn 3. As they still stop the contact. Oh, and around goes the Red Bull of Erik, as they just came together on the exit. And it was Erik hitting the front right wheel, or the front left wheel of Sasha, spinning himself around. Sasha almost lost it as well, but somehow he pointed in the right direction after all of that. But Erik now has spun out as well from this race, and he drops down to P5. Fortunately for him, he doesn't pick up front wing damage, and he's still inside the top 5 and could potentially get back up to P4 once he gets ahead of Fireblaze. But Erik now off the podium, and that is not great news in his championship fight with Mels, who's not here tonight, because he will of course score significantly less points towards the Mercedes driver to what would have been a certain podium for the Red Bull drivers. We go on to the final 6 laps of this race, with Kick now with a 4-second lead ahead of someone with a 3-second time penalty, and Stefan could definitely finish P2 here tonight at the Hungary, but now he's going to try and attack Sasha on the inside. No defense from the Ferrari, and clean into second place goes Stefan in the McLaren. Sasha drops down to P3. He's got a 5.5 second gap towards Fireblaze, who now has got the Red Bull drive up the inside. He knows he's not going to fight someone like Erik after an incident like that, as they go side by side on the exit. But Erik now back up at the P4, and he will have to try and get within 3 seconds of Sasha to get that podium, but that's a gap of 2.5 seconds to gain in a matter of 6 laps time. I don't think he's going to be able to do that, especially with the extra wear that he just got off that spin. So he might just have to settle for P4, but might be driving a little bit on emotion right now after getting spun around and having an incident earlier on with his teammate as well. So we've got 5 laps to go after this. Kick in a world of his own at the front with a 3.7 lead ahead of Stefan, who is looking for his first podium of the season, and it could be coming his way. And Sasha just needs to stay where he is right now, and he could still pick up that final podium despite his 3-second time penalty. But very, very unfortunate indeed then from Erik after coming together with the Ferrari. Not sure whose fault it was, but Erik down to P4 and out of the podium.
Such a chain of events here in this race. We thought that Red Bull had a chance to win, a double podium for both of them, but now Erik is in P4 and Happy Meal's retired. Happy Meal is very happy to see that, so he probably thought karma for Erik there as he spun out and off the podium. So massive shame for both Red Bull drivers who had it all in their hands, but driving in a bit of emotion as well. And just like it was with Kevin Sonnenberg and Robbie Eccles as well, just not letting it go. But as we head down towards turn 2 now, with Erik and Fireblaze and Lucas now all in the proximity of each other. And Lucas as well had his own troubles in this race. So, Stefan has got a 3-second time penalty, but I don't think it will matter. It depends if Erik could somehow gain about 2.8 seconds in the last 4 laps. So I think it's really crucial for Stefan now not to fight with Sasha, because if he fights with Sasha, considering Erik's got some blistering pace, Erik somehow could find himself on the podium. So yeah, that's going to be a twist and a turn in this race if that does happen. So Stefan will get a podium either way. Well, actually not, because let's say if Erik does catch, Sasha's still there in P3. So it's a fight for the podium between those two. But Kick has got it all in his hands as well. It's been an absolute brilliant drive from the Dutchman. His last win was back at the British GP as well. What an absolute drive he did there. And Happy Meal was involved in the fight too. It was Happy Meal versus Lucas versus Kick, and Happy Meal Kick came out on top. Here comes Sasha on Stefan. Erik has dropped back massively as well. The gap is 6 seconds as well between him. Bearing in mind though, we did see Sasha have the DRS, that's why the gap was up 6 seconds. But Erik has got Fireblaze to contend with as well for P4 and P5. So Erik has got to watch over his shoulders and see what Fireblaze is doing in P5. There is only 11 people left in this race, and somehow, despite all of this, well, I thought Woozy was in the session. No, he's not. I thought Woozy was still driving there, but he's not. He's driving around like a ghost. So there's only 10 people here. We haven't really mentioned Q. P10, a driver who has struggled recently as well in league racing, a driver who tries to get himself into points like TVHNL, Tavia, and Mummin Nick and Ticey as well. He's done a considerable job in P10, tries to keep out of trouble and scoring 1 point as well in 10th place. And I didn't expect a lot of DNS here tonight, but a lot of drama has kicked off from the sprint race all the way to the feature race, and it's definitely been an eventful Grand Prix here at the Hungary Ring. And pretty much drivers separated now. We've got a battle going for 4th, 5th and 6th place, battle for 2nd and 3rd place going on still between Sasha and Stefan. Those two ideally just need to keep it clean, those two, because they can't afford to fall into the clutches of Erik as well if those two make contact. But yeah, what a shame for some people in this race when they could have had it, but unfortunately just got too ambitious, audacious, and a bit hot-headed as well. And grudges were held as well, especially in this race, by a few people. So yeah, that's definitely the downfall for them in this race, not letting go of their grudges and hatred for one another. But yeah, that's how the Dutchies roll here in SDN. But Kick, however, has left all the drama behind. I don't think Kick has been involved in any drama in this race. He's left it all behind in the past. Was able to get past those people very quickly, unlike his teammate Lucas. Lucas spent a long time hanging around with those people on older tyres, whilst Kick managed to find himself past very quickly as well in his race, in his bid to try and win. And all he needs to do now is bring it home to get his first win of the season. And patience is king as well in these type of races as well. Trying to stay calm, level-headed, composed, relaxed and chilled out. Stay calculated, meticulous as well. And aware, obviously, as well. Trying to calculate the right moves at the right time, trying to coordinate your strategies and plan them at the right time too. And it's exactly what Kick's done. Even though the first safety car did put him at a slight disadvantage, and unfortunately for him, he couldn't try and do his two-shot strategy and make it work. But so far in this race, it's other people that's been the downfall of themselves. And that's what has. That's why Kick is up into first place. It's been a great drive for him so far. He's got 2 laps left to go in this race. I think Sheepy Gamer is going for the fastest of the Grand Prix. But Milan, what do you think about this race, mate?
Yeah, quite chaotic, like we saw in the sprint race as well. Now that it's gone towards the end, although we definitely saw some incidents in the past couple of laps. But yeah, it's quite a bit of action around Hungary. Not something you'd normally expect. Of course, entertaining for us as commentators, but some of these incidents you wouldn't really want to see doing a race like that, but definitely more during the sprint race than in the actual race. But yeah, it's definitely enjoyable. That is to say the least. But yeah, some incidents between teams. I saw the 2 Red Bulls coming together, and then Sasha and Erik afterwards as well. So yeah, quite a many big names having issues in this race. So really quite unique to see that. And it's Kick who has remained calm throughout the entirety of this race, and we didn't really think that he would walk away with this race with such an advantage. At the moment, virtually he's got an 8.5 second lead over Sasha, and he's already weaving on the main straight as we go into the final lap of the race. But yeah, he just stayed out of trouble and just did what he needed to do, and it has worked for him because all his rivals have fell out. Sasha, I think, will still finish second place. Stefan is looking to the inside in towards turn 1, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull that off. Now on the exit he is 3/10 behind, and this straight is just a little bit too short to really make that move, so Sasha might hold on to that second place, but Stefan will still finish on in P3, which would be a very good podium for him. But Sasha then, although he's finished at P2, it's actually still a good result for him in the championship. He's P3 in the championship, and he will gain on Mels, of course, who's not racing, but he will gain on Erik as well. So those 3 will all get very close to each other in the championship fight. But we will see if something happens between that incident we saw between Sasha and Erik early on. But we're on the final lap of the race. Kick is making his way through this final sector, and he's about to win this race in comfortable fashion.
Indeed, he is then. Stefan had a moment at turn 4, but sorted himself out on the track. But through the final sector now, no mistakes, no hesitation, just precision. This has been a controlled, composed, and a drive of someone who has earned it the hard way today. After setback, after pressure, after fight back for track position, Kick is making his way around the final corner. Kick has won the Hungarian Grand Prix after such a composed, Brazilian drive from him. Sasha finishes at P2, and Stefan is on the podium for the first time. Great drive from the young Dutchman as well, fully deserved for Stefan there. And Kick will be absolutely delighted to get his first win since last season of the British GP, which was a long time ago. One race later, he could have won the race, but he gave the victory towards his teammate Lucas, who pulled over and let him win. Fireblaze P5 ahead of Lucas. Ticey P7, who collects good points for Sauber, unlike last week at Baku. Hartikas at P8 ahead of Sheepy Gamer, and he should get the fastest of the Grand Prix. Did he? I'm not quite sure. Let's see if he did get the quickest lap time of the race. He should do, theoretically. No, he didn't. Eric got it on old hardcore power tyres, so it looks like Sheepy Gamer bottled that, and he lost it by 1/10 of a second. Ricky U P10, and the ghosted car of Woodsy P11. But yes, wow, what a dramatic race indeed it has been at the Hungarian Grand Prix. More dramatic than we expected, more eventful, but that's what happens sometimes. That's what you expect around Hungary, really. It's just, it could be a really boring DRS-filled train race, or something just explodes and something dramatic happens. And this is one of the races where something did happen, and a lot of people unfortunately became a shadow of their former selves, and became an enemy as well of their former selves, and just lost it, really. They had it on their hands, but things went the other way for them, and it didn't pay off for them at all at the end of this race. So they'll learn back and think, what happened in this Grand Prix? How did it all go wrong? And a lot of drivers will be arguing in the chat as well. And obviously, I can't read Dutch properly, so I won't be able to read them all. But I'm pretty sure I'll be very interested to see what fires up in the chat as well. So there it is. Then, Kick takes home 30 points with the feature win. Sasha P2 ahead of Stevan in P3. Lucas 4th place ahead of Fireblaze. Eric 6th place ahead of Happy Meal. So both Red Bull drivers finished close together in 6th and 7th place. Ticey in 8th ahead of Khatikas. Leonard in P10 ahead of Sheepy Gamer, and the man who was ghosted most of the time. Where is he? Musi, 14th place as well. So that's the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix. I have sent Kick an invite to the party. He does partake in the podium interview, so I would love to get his perspective on how his race transpired, and we'll see if he does join the party or not. He does like doing podium interviews because he has told me so. I'd love to see his insights and points of view. So we'll wait a few seconds to see if the man will join the podium interviews, and we can kickstart things as well. What's Sasha's first name? NDL, or is it NDL?
NLD.
NLD. Yeah, sorry about that. I got confused. Kick has. We're gonna interview one driver only because we were limited on time here after a long race.
Yo.
So Milan, I will let you kickstart the interviews because I believe I do all. I believe I leave you no questions towards the end. So Milan, you can do the interviews, mate.
All right, I'll do it in English then. But first and foremost, very congratulations to you, mate. Kick. Very well-deserved win. And I have to ask, did you expect to win that race when that safety car came out?
No, and the safety car I didn't expect that I win the race when the safety car came out, because they all have a new set of tires extra, and I only have used tires. So if there came in another safety car, that was not ideal, but was only one safety car, so it was perfect. But the stops was better, yeah, and I managed to win, so I'm happy. With
You should be.
race, yeah.
And
Good
then
race.
afterwards, of course, you had to overtake Eric. And just how important was it just to stay out of trouble, because everyone around you made mistakes, came together, but you somehow kept it clean throughout the entirety of the race.
Yeah, I was happy with the war race, and I need to overtake Erik fast because the drivers behind me struggle a lot. So first was my plan to push with Erik away, and we can fight it out together. But Erik also struggle, so I need to pass him fast, and that works really well. So yeah, I'm happy with the win.
Yeah, and a good haul of points in the championship as well. So congratulations on the win. And if you have any more questions, Jamie, feel free to ask.
Thank you, mate. So, how do you feel for the United Kingdom Grand Prix? Because we move on to Silverstone next week, and the last time you raced at Silverstone, Kick, I believe he was the man that went on to win the race indeed. So, do you feel comfortable at Silverstone? You did have a race there on Tuesday, like many people did as well. So, do you think you could take the victory there in Silverstone next week on Friday, mate? Kick?
Yeah, I'm on holiday next week, so I'm not by the Grand Prix of Silverstone. I'm going to ski with my family, so I'm in Austria then.
Wow. Have an absolutely amazing time at the Austrian Grand Prix. I hope you enjoy it. So have an amazing time in Austria, mate.
I'm going to Austria to skiing, not to the Grand Prix.
I know. Austria's in the summer, but yeah, I want to give you the just good luck in skiing, mate.
Thanks, mate.
I hope you win.
Yeah, I hope it also. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very fast.
Success, young. But
Thanks,
congratulations on the win here today. It's an amazing drive, and we'll see you back in 2 weeks' time, mate.
Yeah, see you then, and thanks for commentating. It was very good. I think I will see it back tomorrow in the car. I'm going to drive 12 hours, so.
Very nice, mate. Hope you enjoy it, and good luck.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for the interview,
Thanks,
mate. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Right then, that's the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix. We move on to Silverstone next week. And Milan Langer, thank you very much for joining me alongside you in the commentary box. And like I say, every single week since the first time we met, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Indeed, it has, and I really enjoyed it as always. And this one as well. I do have to say, in the end, the story did come through and did see a Williams win, like we saw Nelson Piquet do 40 years ago. So not quite from second on the grid, but we did see a Williams win. So just had to mention it in the end. But yeah, it was a really great race, and really looking forward to next week.
There's one thing I want to mention as well before we go, that Heikki Kovalainen did win here back in 2008. His one and only win as the Hungarian Grand Prix, like Oscar Piastri as well. Forgot that he won the Hungarian Grand Prix for his first win in McLaren, which was an underwhelming victory due to team orders. So 2 drivers have won here in Hungary in the past in McLaren. Kovalainen in the McLaren 2. Felipe Massa unfortunately retired due to engine blowout, and Hamilton sustained a puncture. But we'll see you all for the British GP next week. Been a pleasure, and see you all later. Fireblazers has joined the party. Hopefully you're doing all right, mate. And Lucas too, so they're all coming in the party. So we need to leave very quickly before they start to say things.